everybody? Welcome back to the Project Manga Podcast, where we cover One Piece, My Hero, Black Clover, Mashle, Dr. Stone, and Jujutsu Kaisen week to week. Back this week covering Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 39. I'm your host, Igadu.
Knox.
Mellow Yenis.
And as always, before we get started, we just ask that you take a look in the description box down below where you can find links to any and all of our individual social media accounts, such as Twitter, online communities like Discord, places to listen to the podcast like, Apple, Spotify, whatever, wherever you prefer, as well as links to support the podcast, such as our Patreon that you can check out and our online shop, which we actually just opened back up today, opened up to the public again after we kind of pulled it back. We wanted to kind of make some design overhauls and just reevaluate kind of what we were putting out. So we're coming out with a new line of merchandise here soon. It's open to the public. You have to go check that out. It's going to be some fire shit. So with all that said, also like the goddamn video, subscribe to the channel for more fire ass content week to week, and there is also timestamps in the description that you can use to navigate through the video and avoid spoilers if you need to.
Yes.
So, fire ass weekend jump, y'all. How y'all?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How y'all feeling about this weekend jump?
I'm feeling. I'm
definitely feeling things.
I'm feeling things.
I think the majority of the magazine was incredible this week, with a couple that we'll talk about later that weren't so great.
This motherfucker nods, bro. So we might as well get started.
Yeah.
Chapter 156 of Jujutsu Kaisen, Twinkling Stars. And
What a chapter.
I was way the fuck off base with my theory about her ability. Obviously,
Oh,
I thought it had to do with magnetism.
Same.
She's like, it feels like it has more to do with gravity, as far as like stars. They're talking about stars and constellations, and
yeah,
it's
a lot to unpack. This is one of those chapters where it's like you gotta read it at least 3 times. At least I had to before I felt okay with what I consider to be my understanding of the chapter. But I mean, like after you reread it a couple times, it starts to make enough sense, even if it'll probably be really hard to just flat out explain, the ability in your own words. I mean, a lot of people have had a pretty easy time doing that, but me myself, I'm just like, I wouldn't know how to say this to anybody. I wouldn't know how to explain this technique to somebody, but
yeah. It definitely, I feel like in the previous chapters they were talking about how Karara and her homeboy, their techniques aren't traditional curse techniques. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm ready for something off the beaten path. Yeah. And I was like, all right, you literally made a game? Like it's very much, it feels very much like a Nen ability, where it's like you have to do these things, and you have to do 5 across and all this stuff.
You gotta run in a circle 3 times, do a backflip and 3 jumping jacks type shit.
It's very much like a Simon Says kind
where
of
Knox
puzzle.
said some funny ass shit.
Yeah, there's definitely big Hunter x Hunter vibes in this chapter. Just the dialogue that's necessary to explain the ability in combat, in conversation, in internal monologues, without it just being a textbook, is like really impressive. Actually, the way that Gege kind of strung this chapter together, and it kind of condensed it. Yeah, it just made it, manga chapter worthy. You know what I mean? Like something like this is like something like this.
Something that, like, as opposed to Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah,
I feel like Gege really outshines Togashi in that specific area of their ability to weave these explanations on these abilities and these inner monologues and stuff like that into the events of the chapter much more smoothly, where you don't get these big walls of text, because they're just like, the dialogue is basically evenly spaced out between the panels as they're doing other shit still.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think the chapter still flows really nicely while you're getting this explanation and this dialogue, the monologue, whatever it is in the situation.
Yeah.
Which is why it doesn't feel as stagnating or as much of an obstacle as in some cases Hunter x Hunter,
Yeah, an obstacle. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot, but you're not like inundated with complexity. I mean, like some people, I'm sure, might say that they were, but at the end of the day, I think I do agree that the composition of the way the story is told, with the ability included, and it's been a while since I've read Hunter x Hunter, so who knows? But I think I do agree with you right now, at least for this chapter.
It's just nice where you get like even here on like going from page 7 into like 8 and 9, where you get like these big walls of text, right? But like they're mixed in with like these diagrams or like a picture of a panel of Megumi and Panda like actually having the conversation instead of just like a whole panel of text.
They break it up.
It feels really nice. Yeah,
it's snappy. The dialogue is like kind of like snappy from like person to person. There's multiple perspectives involved that all have thoughts and all have dialogue pertaining to figuring out the abilities. So whereas like instead of like a textbook where you're just learning the information through one internal monologue that's figured everything out, you get little bits and pieces here. So it's kind of it kind of gives that thrill of the hunt, or that thrill of the chase, that puzzle, like kind of feeling like you're trying to put together like or figure out a Rubik's Cube or something like that. So it gives a similar sensation to that, which I guess kind of carries you through the explanations a lot, because you just want to get to the bottom of it. You know what I mean? You want to understand it because it's been built up for multiple chapters. So you're like, no, I'm getting this. You know what I mean? You're like, no, I am understanding this for sure. So that drive to want to get it kind of helps you through it. But yeah, as far as like this chapter is like a total package, man. Like the action is incredible, the plan, the dialogue, the way they figure it out, the way that it is very cat and mousey while they're figuring it out, and like you think that like while they're putting it together, you're like, oh, okay, I think I got it, and then new information kind of like comes in that kind of like has you rearrange your ideas of like what is actually happening until you get to the end of the chapter and you're like, okay, and you start connecting the like, dots, no pun intended. Yeah,
you got it, huh?
Right. Yeah. But this ability is cool. Like, who thinks of this kind of shit, dude? Like,
like
Southern Cross constellation technique.
Yeah, well, and so like let's kind of dive into this a little bit, because it's a good conversation to have, because I only read the chapter like maybe once and then skimmed over it again.
Sure.
And you've read it 3 times probably. So like let's kind of unpack this ability. Like, so it basically locks you to a certain point in this constellation when you get marked with the corresponding star, and you then have to pass through the other stars in a certain way in order to get to said star that you want to get to, whatever given star that is.
Or it rejects you until that point. Like, basically, you can't skip the line. You have to go to your neighboring stars.
Right. Yeah. It's better if you, instead of using like Acrux and Gacrux, it's like way better if you just like assign numbers.
Yeah, it's like north, southwest, right? Yeah. Like if you use the rose compass or something like that, just be like, oh yeah, if I'm south and I need to go north, I have to go to west or east before I even touch north.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's basically my understanding of the ability.
That was a really simple way to put it. That's like what's necessary right now. Like I'm sure, like you said that, and I was like, oh shit, that makes a lot of sense.
Gotta strip it down to its basic components.
Yeah, for
sure. Behold, the empirical method.
But yeah, so basically it's like, okay, so like if you are, marking number 1 and you want to get to marking number 3, you got to go through 2.
So
you know
like
what I mean?
when you're saying 1, are you saying Gakru?
I mean, sure, yeah.
Any given one. Just associate a star with it.
Yeah. Man, once I start associating the stars with numbers, and it's like I gotta like reread the chapter again to like make sure that those names are like appropriate numbers. You know what I mean? But
it's Gakru is the top one. Mimosa. Sure. Okay, so like
So according to this diagram on page 15, so if you're trying to get to Gacrux and you're Acrux, you got to go through Ginan and Imai or Mimosa to get
either one of the two. Do you think, or is it one specific path? It's hard to say, really. We don't really know.
I feel like we do know, and I just can't. Yeah.
Oh, the order follows the stars from nearest to furthest.
Exactly. Right.
You got to go to the nearest star to you.
Oh, so maybe
Yeah, so if you're Imai, you need to go to Ginan, then
Yeah.
Akrux,
Yeah.
then Mimosa, and then Gakrux at the end. Because
Yeah, there you
Ginan
go.
is a bridge that sets it into a clockwise pattern.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's
because
right.
Panda was the first one, they get hit with the Imai. And because she doesn't want like Ginan, she's already got Ginan set. She hits Megumi with Akrux, and she's Mimosa.
No, she's Ginan.
She's Ginan?
She's Ginan in that little
Yeah,
that
she
little
is.
light box on the ground
Where
is
they are
Mimosa.
Ginan. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they're setting it up. Yeah. Yeah, no, tricky ability.
It's a lot. Like, I get it, like, when I read it, but, like, trying to talk about it is fucked up.
It's hard
But,
to
like,
translate it outside of the language that's already used.
right.
It's literally like a clockwise compass. So if you start at north and you designate it as home base, you go clockwise. And at the 3 o'clock, at the 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, you have to go through that to 9 o'clock before you get to midnight. And like that's literally what you have to do to get there.
But if you're marked with the same as another one, then obviously you're attracted to it. And then if you're marked with a different one, you have to find out which other ones are on the path ahead, in your way to that one, and you have to touch those points before you'll have access to it.
Yeah, I like it. It's one of the things I like about horror and Jujutsu Kaisen and a little bit of like Hunter x Hunter is that what is observable is absolutely necessary. They have to use kind of their own scientific method, have their hypotheses, have their observable things, and like kind of do like a mental checklist and rundown of what is and what isn't possible based on what they can observe.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I like how they're so geared towards observation to understanding. And then when they run into things like all the curses and stuff, being able to observe them is horrifying, right? Like they're geared towards understanding and observation. And when you understand something that is truly, truly awful, it is disgusting. And then you have to fight like that kind of emotional response of like, I want to throw up.
Yeah, for sure. But shout out to Megumi for like big braining the fuck out of this entire like situation. Like Megumi's been getting a lot. What did you say?
He's the clever one.
He is the clever one. Like to the
Nobara and Yuji share brain cells sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And Megumi's definitely the kind of like clever character that like feels familiar but is still like totally his own thing at the same time. Like he's the way that I feel like a lot of the higher intellect characters in Shonen like have like an air of confidence around them. You know what I mean? All the time, where they're very confident in their intellect and they have this kind of aura to them that kind of shows that. Megumi's obviously very timid and like reserved a lot of the time and like not, as confident in himself as he should be, considering his obvious capabilities and his feats in the series. He's got Gojo and Sukuna, with their eyes on him, and we are seeing, throughout the series all of those reasons why. It's making a lot more sense the farther the series goes why these god tier characters are so interested in him, and I love the subtle delivery of that inside of Jujutsu Kaisen because it is very unorthodox to have a character this smart with this kind of personality
that isn't arrogant.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really refreshing to see. Like I like page 6, the Southern Cross, when Kirara reacts, and he's like, oh wait, I was right. Like he wasn't entirely sure. He's just like, this could be
taking a shot in the dark.
He took a shot in the dark, and he's just like, oh, thank God, my sister was also an astrology hoe. Fantastic.
Yeah, I love the trial and error, aspect to it, because if there's one thing that, just thinking about Hunter x Hunter as a parallel right now, it seems like, even though we know and it's established very on that characters, just at base level in Hunter x Hunter are just like above average intellect to like the average person, you know what I mean? Like everybody seems to have a really good head on their shoulders, even if they're weak in Hunter x Hunter, and the really higher level ones, you know what I mean? Like inside of the main cast or inside of, main main-ish secondary like level, like right under that, characters are all like wildly capable intellectually, and it always seems like they kind of figure everything out a little bit too quick. I've heard that complaint before. But inside of this, you get that trial and error, you get those potential, you know, fails, and sometimes you just outright do fail, you just outright do get the information wrong in Jujutsu Kaisen, you know, some of the time. So that is one thing that we can say, like, even if we're drawing parallels, is kind of different and is kind of refreshing, since there are so many parallels there. You don't want it to feel too much like something, even though this chapter right here, I haven't felt like such an intense Hunter x Hunter vibe from Jujutsu Kaisen since the exchange event, probably, when Todo was like deducing Hanami's like technique and like breaking down all of the moves he's used so far, like internally.
Yes.
Like that was like super Togashi vibes there, and like even like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, even, you know, like for the way that these, I haven't really done JoJo's too much, but I've heard enough to know that Nen is kind of like loosely based off of stands, and the combats, you know, are similar in regard to like strategy and like layered thinking, you know what I mean? So like I love this vibe, and I love that it's got its own vibe inside of that vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like how the characters, like you were saying, the characters don't seem overly informed
Right.
about anything. Like in that moment, Fushiguro, page 5. I still haven't got a clue, but I know one thing. The base of this curse technique is a constellation. And then they talk about, like, this suggests 5 or more stars. Is there a 6th one? I hope there aren't, because even 5 doesn't make sense for a cross.
Right.
And then, like, Panda's reaction to getting attacked by the Imai to Imai...
proximity, bro.
Proximity? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Proximity to their... like the car. He catches it, throws it, is immediately told, don't throw it, it'll come right back to you. Gets hit for the double smack.
Yeah,
sides.
that's fucking hilarious.
It's like, get my good side. Both my sides are good sides. Ow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hilarious. And I love how, like, even though his sister was, you know, a constellation geek, you know, or like a star geek, astrology geek, or whatever, that information just like wasn't enough to figure out the whole ability, you know what I mean? It was just enough for him to know that like it's working like a constellation, and then he still kind of had to do like everything else after that. So even though he, like, there is kind of like a convenient, you know, piece of development that we've gotten for Sumiki kind of injected in this chapter to help Fushiguro out with his deduction of the technique, it's still like not overbearing hand wave, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, cool, your sister was into astrology, you that's enough of a tether to where you're like, okay, this is a constellation, you know what I mean? Or maybe it's because of the names, right? So maybe that's why he saw the markings and just like recognized the names of on the markings and like put it to the constellation, or tied it to, you know, to his sister in that way. But then he still had to like do the rest, I want to say, you know what I mean? So like that's still, it just feels good, you know what I mean?
And,
even though there was kind of like
I feel
a
like
convenient injection there.
References, oh, this is where he got that kind of outside knowledge, because like if he didn't, you would be like, okay, so Megumi knows about stars and he might be a horoscope nerd, like,
yeah,
okay, cool, I'm gonna accept that. But I do like that little touch. It's a very small dialogue moment, but like it carries through, it rounds out his character in a way.
Yeah.
I really like how he outplays Kirara at the last second. He's like, I've been doing all this stuff, testing the boundaries, trying to figure out how this move works, and I still had a backup just in case, based on what I could observe the first time I got a dog yeeted at me. Yeah, that last part of the chapter is wild with the Totality Hound. Oh my god. It was always trying to reach him, but he had it planted behind the wall, so it was just intercepted by the wall until he got Kirara in position to allow Totality to kind of like leave behind the wall, and then, and just,
you know,
clothesline her.
and then just clothesline them, like. Yeah, that was wild.
Watch that dog just like, hey, gotcha.
Yeah, and man, when I turned this page on 9, to 10, and Kirara's over the car and just jumps on the car and just like lifts it like with just like I wasn't ready for physical output like that. Yeah.
Right.
Like I was like, holy shit, yeah.
I mean,
like, that was awesome.
She definitely concentrates her cursed energy into her attacks for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice it's just like so unexpected. Yeah.
It's nice. I think that's actually really interesting that she is a brawler and not a controller type thing. She has a control ability, and if they need to get to that third place, she's a brawler, so she can just literally 1v1 whoever comes at her.
Yeah, imagine thinking this is like a, you know, caster. A backline type, like caster, like mage type, and then you go to square up and they just rock you in your shit.
What you about to do?
Throws you and throws you in the up air, and then activates a star on the ground and draws you to the ground. Just bam.
Insane. Oh, I gotta shout out my homeboy Malik once again at La Easy on Twitter. Follow him, man. He's great with the Jujutsu Kaisen Twitter threads. He broke down Kirara's technique in his own words or whatever, but then there was this really cool addition to the thread where he was talking about Kirara in the Culling games. He's like, Kirara could mark Megumi as the Gakrux, mark Yuji / Sukuna as the Akrux, then Kirara could go mark Gojo as Mimosa, and then the only way to get to Megumi would be to go through Gojo plus Kirara, but Gojo can't be touched by conventional means. So it's just like a crazy, like if they were trying to protect Megumi, protecting Megumi from Sukuna or something like that is the example that he gave. But just like imagine that dynamic in combat, like
that's amazing.
And this is all, you know, assuming Gojo is like unsealed or whatever at this point. But that was just like a cool thought. Like I was going through this thread and I was like, yeah, I need to see that now. I was like, that was fire. So shout out my homeboy Malik. Follow him on Twitter at Leezy. Great Jujutsu Kaisen threads. Follow him, man.
So little thing. I think that Kirara and her homeboy are kind of a nod at Romeo and Juliet.
Ooh.
Because of Kirara's ability, love rendezvous, and literally a star-crossed lovers, right?
Oh wow.
She's all about him, and like Romeo's big thing was that he was very like his character was very passionate and very impatient, which kind of tracks with our boy. So I think that might be a thing, and if that's cool. Is kind of like a literary reference, let's that doesn't bode well for them.
Yeah. What does that mean for their future?
What does that mean for their future? They drink a lot of poison.
No. If that would be some shit. That would be like some way later shit. But if they did tie it back like that would be insane. We know that Gege loves their references and whatnot. You know what I mean? So that'd be insane.
Yeah, just some little thing I noticed. I was like, oh, I get it. Star-crossed lovers. That's cute. I like that.
Yeah. I just want to shout out this first page with the rabbit escape, like. And like the perfect circle barrier of the rabbit escape around like Kirara and shit. Like that's so sick.
Oh yeah, nice, great visual. I love that. And then like I liked how in page 2 she's just like they're bending around this field near her. And she's like, yeah, that's weird. Well, don't know why they did that.
Yeah.
And then like when it switches over to page 3, when the rabbits get disintegrated.
Yeah.
Splatted. It gave me the Nightmare from Watership Down.
Never
vibes.
Seen that.
It's about a bunch of rabbits that escape a flood.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's like one of those childhood trauma movies. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Wow. Kind of like Ghost Ship.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like super relevant, but it just reminded like it's childhood trauma movies, like that opening scene of Ghost Ship. Fuck
for real, bro.
The piano wire across the hull of the shore, across the poop deck of the ship or whatever. That's the poop deck, right? I don't know boat anatomy, but yeah, that shit was wild.
The boat butt.
Yeah. But yeah, man, this chapter was a lot, dude. I am like super excited now that he's kind of like got her in like, you know, an armbar or whatever at the end. Like he's like, all right, please listen to what we have to say. You know what I mean? So now they're kind of in a position where they have to. So I'm excited for what kind of conversation they're going to have. If this is going to be like a recruitment kind of thing, Yuji and Hikari are obviously still boxing, so we'll kind of see how that goes. I don't know if Yuji is going to be able to get Hikari in a similar situation as Megumi and Kirara. I don't think it's going to be an I outdid you kind of thing. I think it's going to be like a we're coming together as bros kind of thing to like kind of like talk it out. Because I definitely think Hikari is like, I don't think Yuji should be able to beat Hikari just because of how much he was hyped up. His first real showing, she shouldn't lose to the main character. Not after all of this. Not after all of these like comparisons to Gojo and comparisons to Yuta and things like that. Like he just got waxed by Yuta like not too long ago. So yeah, so I definitely don't think it'll end.
Hikari's gonna handle him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Hikari's gonna beat the brakes out of Yuji, and then they're just gonna either memory manipulation shit like Todo and Choso, which a lot of people seem to think is going to be a thing. Yeah.
It's time.
Maybe, you know what I mean? Or it's just gonna be, you know, on some other just like mutual understanding shit, like we can have a conversation, or they have a conversation while they're fighting and Yuji is saying shit while they're boxing and then finally says that one thing that's going to make Hikari listen. So I don't think he'll physically overcome Hikari in this way.
My man's got your girl hemmed up outside.
I was thinking that Yuji might say, it's like, hey man, I get it. I'm not with the, you know, I'm not with the old school.
Yeah.
I'm not with the old school. It's like, how should I believe you? Because I'm the vessel of
I'm
Sukuna,
fucking
man.
exiled, bro. Like they
I'm the
want
vessel of
my head right
They've
now.
already executed me twice now.
Yeah. Or since Megumi, you know, kind of has Kirara by the beard here, I bet you they undo their technique at some point in time during their conversation. So then Hikari seems to like know when Kirara's ability is active, or might
Didn't
have.
she already?
What do you mean?
On page 18 here, they say love rendezvous cancel.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay, so they released it, and
we'll
then
see if he notices.
And then I don't know if like he'll be notified via cursed energy or anything like that. But like I bet you maybe the door just opens. Maybe they all just walk through the door and that stops the fight. And it's Kirara, Megumi, and Panda. And like Kirara's obviously being cool with Megumi, so the fight just stops there and everyone has a conversation. That's probably how it'll go. I forgot that the technique was released, but
they walk in, Yuji's just like between
like,
some
I
doors like
be I do not want to be part of this.
What'd you say, Mello?
She's like, I do not want to be pressed between these two. I do not want to just get like Wombo Combo Tag Team WWE Super Slamwich.
Yeah. But wow, what a chapter! A lot to unpack.
And it keeps unpacking.
That was hard to talk about. I feel like we still maybe didn't talk about that technique enough, but at least I feel a little bit more comfortable in my understanding.
I mean, I feel like Mello broke it down pretty simply, and
he
was
did.
like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he did.
All right.
I just like that
the compass rose thing was nice. What were you saying?
I like that she used the like similar, like she did the Acrux things on debris, right? Like,
right.
That's just brutal. Like avalanches of stuff.
Car door to your fucking jaw, like
yeah, no, like.
I wonder if there is a I wonder, like, because, okay, so if they can just mark anything, is there, like, I don't know what term I'm looking for, maybe diminishing returns? Is there some kind of, you know, stamina depletion when you mark something? Because this seems like way too powerful to just infinitely be able to slap shit and, like, and mark infinite things. I mean, to have this kind of definite
within the confines of your cursed energy, right? Like you have a reservoir,
right?
Like a certain limit of the cursed energy you have in any given altercation. So yeah, you'd think at a certain point she maybe would try and mark something and she just can't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's one thing that I feel like. Oh, sorry.
Page 13. kind of covers that a little bit. I think it's definitely limited to how much cursed energy she can output. I think that is her stamina limit to infuse things, because she's like, I think contact must be made to place a star, but Karara never touched me or the rabbit escape, only with divine dog. So instead of marking objects themselves, Karara marks cursed energy. To mark objects like the door or a car with a star, maybe Karara has to charge them beforehand with someone's cursed energy. Like the car has residual energy from someone other than Karara.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Assuming the technique doesn't have much range, there must be one more star. And then...
Yeah.
So
yeah,
like,
I was just... It's just one thing that I feel like we don't see a lot of in Jujutsu Kaisen, or maybe I just don't remember. But like, we don't get a whole lot of dialogue related to how much cursed energy a certain technique takes. You know what I mean? Like, we see... characters get exhausted after fighting for a while, but I don't remember, at least right now, any specific dialogue tied to like, I don't got too many more of these, you know what I mean? Or
upper limits.
Yeah, upper limits of like how taxing your techniques actually are, you know what I mean? And I'm sure that there is a reserve that they all use and that they all tap into to do whatever when they're fighting. But like, if there was some kind of dialogue related to what kind of toll it takes to place a marking, then that would make it feel a little bit more balanced, because like, she can fight you straight up, she can square up with you, like she has really good cursed energy control, you know what I mean? Because this is obviously a not very physical technique, it's a very utility technique, you know what I mean? And she can still square up with you, or they could still square up with you. So if you got all of that, then like, it seems a little unbalanced, you know what I mean? That if the stamina aspect isn't that drastic for mark placing.
I think it could be a little drastic, and also it's an ability that benefits from prep time.
Sure.
So like, she and Hikari have been here for a minute.
Yeah.
They've buckled down, they've battened down the hatches. They're here for the long haul. They're basically living here.
Right.
So they have time to infuse the area with energy.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that kind of
supplements or kind of balances out a little bit more.
Clings to the body, clings to items over time as well.
Sure.
So like, she's built up enough.
Yeah,
because you can imbue. You can definitely. The prep time is a great point.
That is a great point.
We know from Toto that you can just imbue objects with cursed energy. So she could have walked around this whole roof just like
that might be her car.
Imbuing cursed energy into these objects, just a small little amount to make it so they have that little residual amount that Megumi's talking about.
Right.
And and then she can just huck whatever the fuck she wants at you.
And she did.
Yeah. Yeah,
just
for
everything
sure.
Shy of the fridge inside Hikari's office, like.
Yeah.
Tough stuff.
Can't wait to switch perspectives back to Yuji and Hikari and see if we get like a similar kind of breakdown to Hikari's technique, because the narration that we get, I feel like, is very rare for techniques. I don't want to say rare, but I feel like it's fewer and farther between that we get, omniscient narration explaining an ability. The last time I remember it was
9 to 5 or 7 to 3.
Nope. We got another omniscient narration for a technique inside of why am I drawing a blank? The old Zenin clan head. Naobito. Naobito's technique was explained, with like superimposed narration like over the scene, and not like internal monologue or just outright explained by the user themselves. So I feel like when it's a technique like this, like, you need the omniscient narration to like really break it down in ways that would be kind of immersion breaking if Megumi had explained it the way that the narration did. You know what I mean? Almost immersion breaking. You know what I mean?
It's like, how would I be able to see this and know exactly how it works? That doesn't make sense.
Right. So you get like the rudimentary, like kind of like, I kind of just figured it out breakdown from Megumi, and then just to double down, you get the the narration box there just to seal the deal, hopefully.
I do like that Karara like had that moment, was like, oh, he figured out his face for the constellations. They should be able to figure this out. Sigh.
I saw a comment that I just remembered where someone was like, I don't know what's more impressive, the fact that Megumi figured all of this out, or the fact that Gege thought it up. And it's like, it made me laugh, but it's like, Gege is the answer.
Yeah,
You know what I
Gege is
mean?
always the answer.
Yeah, Gege is always the answer. But that's all I had for this chapter. I don't know if you guys have anything more you wanted to comment on or speculate on, but
I think that's about all I had as well. All right, then. With that, I think we can go ahead and move right into chapter 208 of Dr. Stony. Science transcends humanity.
It's another one of those chapters where I'm like, just like, holy shit, math.
Take your word for it.
Raw math, exactly, just raw math.
I'm like,
you know what? Nice little cover this chapter though.
Yeah, it's cool.
Taiju, Magna, and Yuzuriha. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not sure why they chose to get them in there, but
well, these are the all-stars of the chapter, bro.
I mean,
yeah, these are the super MVPs of the chapter, pretty much.
Straight up, and they're the ones. If they're those are the three building the computer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, yeah, good for them.
Yeah, Math Olympics tourney. I saw that panel and I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well.
Even more surprised when you see the participants at the end of the chapter, right? But
yeah,
it makes sense based on like the point they were trying to prove with the computer and whatnot. But also funny how we just get this recurring joke now with Taiju's character here, where he's like, "Is it time for smartphones yet?
Yeah,
like, are we making smartphones? What's up?
I miss my Candy Crush.
I miss my goddamn Clash of Clans. What are we doing?"
Because I think Taiju might have been the one in the like first like phone like in the arc where they first started using like phones with like the really long string connecting the two, you know, soup cans or whatever. The way we all used to, you know, talk to each other when we were kids or whatever, like that old phone. I think he was like, once he rejoined the team, after like the Stone Wars or whatever, he was like, "You guys got phones and shit. Holy shit, this is crazy." I think he was like one of the main ones that was like, "Smartphones, yeah. When we gonna get the cellular ones? When are we gonna upgrade that?" I think I remember that, but
Senku's just like, "Hey man, we got a lot to do."
Yeah,
we got more to worry about than that.
Yeah, in time.
I like page 3. Boy's description to launching from the Earth to the moon is like trying a death-defying hole-in-one in golf. You got the trajectory right. The stone world needs a real computer.
Yeah.
And I just like, yeah, that's fair. Like, there's so much.
I think I saw a comparison of that. Maybe this isn't the right one, but if it is, then it was like getting this trajectory correct is like shooting a ball from like New York to California and getting like nothing but net.
Damn.
You know, yeah. Yeah, I think I saw a comparison like that for this exact moment on page 3.
That's accurate. Yeah. That's accurate.
I also love how like Sai, like this chapter, like Sai's involvement in this chapter, now that we've kind of like moved out of that I don't want to say depressing, but like now that we've moved out of that like initial storytelling for Sai where he's down in the dumps and doesn't want anything to do with Ryusui, and that whole misunderstanding was kind of like, you know, helped out by Gen, and you know what I mean, and now that all of that stuff's over, we're just getting like raw, like awesome on the squad Sai, and he fits right in.
Yeah, it's the get down to business montage, like, love it.
Yeah.
I like that they literally just montage getting all these people out of the stone and feeding them and like conscripting them to like do all that production. I'm glad that they montage that.
And we're at a point now, like we say all the time, we're at a point now where it makes sense to montage like a lot of the really technical, like high labor stuff, because we've had so much of the storytelling dedicated to that in the earlier arcs when we were figuring out what the story of Dr. Stone was. We got all of that really tedious, you know, mundanity, you know what I mean, inside of what they were doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that moment on page 3. He's like, I don't care about the Math Olympics to be motivated. that's stupid. He's like, they say the winning team gets 100 million dragos. And they're like, all right, I'm motivated by greed.
Yeah, they just start going crazy.
I'm from the old world full of capitalism.
Yeah, give me my money.
Gotta get that bag, even in the stone world.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. It's really great.
Can't tell you that I understand like any of this stuff from like page like 5 to the rest of the fucking chapter in the explanation of stuff. Like I get some stuff, but like for the like
10.
Once it all starts coming together, I'm like, okay, I think I'm supposed to get it by now, and I don't. Like, feel really dumb right now because I'm pretty sure they were trying to break this down as simply as they could, and I'm just like foaming at the mouth, swirly eyed, like Gon and
like
shit.
Like Mashle trying to study.
Yeah, or like Gon when Knuckle was explaining like Hakuware APR to him in Chimera, and he's just like he's just steam coming out the ears, like a bunch of equations behind him and shit.
I mean, these things are so tiny in general, like
for sure.
Like I love the visual representation hidden within his thumb on page 9, where he's just like, we need to sew all these rings together, and it's just a bunch of magnetic rings, and it's like, it's just astronomical. Like the amount of like it's so tiny. There's so many.
Yeah.
Okay, and like that's fair. This is where science transcends humanity. You don't let science do the thing, you know?
That's in more ways than one, right? Because I know that the title is like linking back to, you know, how like Senku's line of dialogue where he's like, something made from scratch by people can end up transcending the human mind. But like, I feel like it's like you had another example right there. Like,
yeah, they're dummy small.
Yeah. And you can see his like, you can almost see his fingerprints and shit. Like, 0.5 millimeters. How could you even hold that in your hand? I'd be like,
I dropped it.
Yeah, like it would literally, like the oils on my finger, like my hands would be clammy just because of the pressure, and that shit would just launch out of my fucking fingers.
It got lost inside my fingerprints.
Yeah.
Gone. It's gone forever. I'm the supercomputer now.
Dude, when I turned this page to this double spread and it was like 30 million, I was like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah, I mean, their faces are... If I had to do that, I would cry too.
Yeah, dude. Like, that is just so heartbreaking. What a number.
30 million.
The human brain doesn't even, like, comprehend those level of numbers.
Yeah, I love the lineup for the... I love the where is it? The lineup for the team like made for the job, you know what I mean? Yuzi Riha, Handcrafts Club, Watch Technician inside of Joel, and then Surgeon. Who is that? Luna. We knew she was a surgeon. I did not remember that personally. But I was
she
like,
like she's not a surgeon, but she went to like medical school, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
Is what we got.
Oh, so she was like an RNA?
Or maybe she was going to be a surgeon or something like that and then got petrified or something. I don't know. But like this felt like really good. I was like, surgeon? Fuck yeah.
Hi, I'm Luna, and I'm studying via CNA.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this was a lot. But the one thing that I appreciate about the rocket ship building is that like it feels like it's going to take like multiple arcs to build. You know, like you get an arc for like one aspect of, you know, the mission, and then another arc. Like if there's not going to be any conflict because everyone's petrified and everyone who's not petrified is on the team, then like these are the kind of like little arcs that we're going to get from milestone to milestone as we build the rocket. I love how they're not like just like really fast tracking the rocket. You know what I mean? Because this is Senku's entire motivation, essentially. Besides rebuilding humanity before petrification, he wanted to build a rocket. He wanted to go to the moon. You have to spend time on that.
Chapter 1.
Yeah,
Chapter
exactly.
1.
You know, like as slow as it might seem that it's going, the storytelling is still just off the charts, and like you're totally here for it. I mean, like if you're this far in Dr. Stone and you're waiting for fights, you know what I mean? I don't really know anyone. Yeah, I don't really know anyone who has complained in that way. But I guess I'm kind of just like thinking about what I just said, and it's like, duh, it's like what we're here for. Of course it's going to be like this, but like still, you know what I mean? The fact that how long they're taking on each individual like segment or obstacle of creating, the rocket. It feels really good. As much as they're montaging a lot of the, the really tedious work, as they should, in my opinion, it still seems like it's going at a relatively, slow pace compared to literally any other invention that they've had to make. And obviously this is the biggest thing that they've ever had to make and the most important, so it all makes sense. And I just love how good it feels in that way.
They're showcasing at appropriate pace, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. This drawing of this computer at the end, I wasn't ready to see it like big and built and shit, you know what I mean? Like I knew that that's what they were going for, but like until I turned the page, I like turned the page into the double spread for calculator acquired, and I was like, wait, did I miss something? And it's like, nope, it's all there. It just wasn't showing you the big picture, you know what I mean? And the way that it was composed into Magna just pressing the button and getting the answer, I was like, now how are you going to explain Magna being a fucking math genius suddenly? And then I turn the page and it's like, oh, he's using the computer and that's what this whole thing is for. I like felt so dumb. I was like, okay, so it's kind of like, when they put the, chess champions up against literal computers, you know what I mean? It's like kind of like calling back to like those kind of things, or what was that? I don't remember what it was in, but like it was like or maybe it was just literal history. Mark Henry, the railroad guy making the railroads versus like the machine that makes railroads. Is that like Futurama or something? Am I misremembering this?
No, I think that's a real life thing.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I think off the
but
top of my head, probably.
Yeah. But it reminded me of that, and I was like, oh, so that's what's going on here. And then I go back, and then and I'm like, okay, this shit is perfect, dude. I love Dr.
I do
Stone.
like that they're like as kind of proof of progress thing. They have this Math Olympics. They have Senku and Sai and Chrome, like the smartest, calculating type people.
Right.
And then they just have Magna, and they're like, Magna's the dumbest of us. He's literally the dumbest out of all of us.
But he could press a button.
And he can press those buttons and beat us.
Yeah.
We've got a damn good computer.
Yeah, we
And the
won.
thing is, they're not even done. Like, I like that moment where they're just like, what's that phrase? So there's 30 million magnets in there. It's like, we don't work that quickly. So if that's what a few thousand gets us, just imagine the finished product.
Yeah, and I love that. That's one thing that I appreciate about Dr. Stone is that they do try to fast track things, but then whenever things are going too fast, they make sure they come back and say, no, that's not the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like that's just enough for this stretch of storytelling. We still got a lot more to do, but we got to make this shit interesting. We can't fast track all 30 million. We got to show some progress on the way. And like that was really cool because I definitely thought, I was like, damn, they made all 30 million of those. And he was like, hey, calm down. No, it was only a couple thousand. And I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. I do like that they basically invented banks out of convenience.
Yeah, banks now. Wow,
Like,
Ryusui Bank.
Yeah.
I like how it's totally fake. It's
Yeah,
fake money.
for sure,
It doesn't mean anything. It's just there to motivate the couple people from the previous world.
Right.
It's funny.
Yeah, dude.
The other people are like, yeah, we're doing it for the dream. And they're like, well, I want money. Yeah, here's money.
Yeah.
Go spend it, I guess.
We got you. Just give us the product we need.
Man, Senku Intelligent 1.
What do you mean? Where? Oh, yep.
That's the name of the
title
computer.
of the
ST1. Yeah. I literally was like, what are you talking about? And I just read it for the first time.
It's that
I never-
PI calculator.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Or
SI1,
the
baby.
T1 calculator.
Oh, sure.
Texas Instrument.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Texas Instrument. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I found that while digging up my old crap, and I was just like, holy shit.
I remember I got in
Still
trouble
here.
for like writing profanity in like the really advanced ones that you got in like high school or whatever. Like back when you would like, it was beyond like just boobs, you know what I mean? And like what you could do on like a little one. Like it was the bigger ones that like had the big backs in them, and you could literally go in and just type shit.
There was a kid at my school who
Yeah.
basically programmed like Doom.
Oh wow.
He got in trouble for trying to get like programming Doom into it. And he's
Oh
just
my
like,
god, let him
he's
do
like-
that. What the fuck? Y'all are mad at him for this?
And I'm just like, yeah, he's smart. He like, this guy is beyond our class. He doesn't need
That's
me.
why they're mad. That's why they're mad, because he was shitting on the teachers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some kids
They're
are just
like,
good at
Doom?
math.
Yeah, he put Doom on a calculator. That's insane. I'm gonna YouTube that now.
That is
I want to see if he actually succeeded because I don't know if that was possible or not. But he told me he was gonna try, and I'm like,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
cool.
No, I'm sure. Oh man, I'm sure you could do all types of shits on crazy calculators now. You know what I mean? Like if I was in 2007 typing like whole paragraphs in a calculator, then yeah, I'm sure it's there. I'm sure the possibility is there if you just know how to fuck with the wires or whatever, or I don't know, or fuck with some combination of buttons. But yeah,
technology blows your mind every time.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I have anything else for Dr. Stone this week, though.
I think that's
it's hard to dissect because I don't understand certain aspects of it
Right.
in a nuanced degree.
Yeah.
Like curse techniques, sure. I can kind of magical thinking my way through that. That makes sense.
But this is like
actual technical stuff.
hard
like,
physics and math, so it's like
this is a thing. It is one could say irrefutably.
Yeah, there's like no speculation involved at all. There's no but great chapter though. Love it. Can't wait to see the next one.
Clean art
as usual.
As always.
Yeah, as always, absolutely. But yeah,
always crisp.
Always.
Beautiful panels of the characters here on the last double spread.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it's a double spread. I think it's actually 2 pages.
Yeah, it is. I think it is just 2 pages. Yeah, but it's like the way that it's drawn, like makes it seem like it kind of like all is all in one. But yeah, there is that divider.
Yeah, that's all I had as well. Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and jump right into chapter 75 of Mashle, Mosh Burn Dead, and the interesting interview.
Loved this chapter, dude.
Did you?
I loved it because it came back to like, even though I've kind of had issues with the last couple of chapters of Mashle, going back into this one that has like world building and like new concepts being introduced, I feel like is something that I was missing from Mashle in this form. Like we definitely learned things, you know what I mean, in the last couple of chapters that we didn't know before, but when it's presented in this way, like with the Servant Beast and the Servant Beast dialogue about the Mad Jinn and shit, I was like, oh yeah, give me all of this shit, you know what I mean? And it's not just because of like action or whatever, it's literally like the storytelling is now like kind of going back to, you know, a deeper, you know, more nuanced, you know, kind of atmosphere, which is just better for speculation and conversation than, you know, raw comedy slice of life chapters, you know what I mean? And there's, now that I think about it, there's really no issues that I had with the last chapter. All of the complaints kind of came out of the conclusion of the Innocent Zero arc. But like coming back into this feels great again, you know what I mean? So even, you know, even with MASH, probably like I hope that like I really hope that this order fight is more than Macaron, like off the charts, you know what I mean? Because Macaron was disappointing to a lot of people. I think I want to say myself included at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Just because of how built up that was. But now we have another built up character that's legitimately, you know, like a villain or antagonist or, you know, something.
He's very antagonistic.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So like I think Komoto will give this one a little bit more because like everyone's been waiting to see what's cracking with this Order Madel Cat. You know what I mean? Especially in direct opposition to MASH. So I hope it's not as I hope it's not like a one chapter like relatively low effort thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that they went straight to the Bureau of Magic because of the Innocent Zero thing. They're like, hey, it's a little like the My Hero thing after like the Nomu incidents where they're like, hey, this was a thing and we need to respond to that, so like we're gonna fast track this examination. Let's go, put them up.
Yeah.
I like Wahlberg's kind of like warning, and he's like, if they deem you unfit, you will not proceed. Be vigilant. Just like, hey, watch out. I know they're gonna try to mess with you, kid.
Right.
Definitely, yeah. And I didn't think it was gonna come this quick though with this Servant Beast. I was like, I sure thought of him as like a like that little green dude you see in the Hunter exam who's
Beans?
just kind of Beans. Like
I literally like right before you said that thought of Beans as well.
Yeah.
He seemed like a Beans type character to me, where he's just like, oh yeah, I'm your jovial fucking instructor here, just here to tell you about the situation.
Hello, I'm your maitre d'.
activated. Yeah, but
Yeah, page turn was drastic on this beast form.
I love 008's design.
Yeah,
Like that's
super
cool.
good. Reminds me of like Fenrir from
Yeah.
Norse mythology, which
yes, definitely.
I'm sure kind of like ties into, you know, the mythology aspect of just magic in this series in general. I bet you if we go through the series, we'll see all kinds of like nods to
Big Jabra energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Jayabura too.
like the chains as earrings because he is like, even though he's an artificial being, he is like a sort of slave.
Right.
And I'm just like, that's really cool integrated design that isn't like super ham-fisted, like, oh, he has a literal collar around his neck or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay.
Not as familiar with Norse lore as like any of the other pantheons that I'm interested in, but I'm pretty sure I remember that Fenrir has chains related to him as well to some degree for some reason.
Well, the thing with Fenrir is that they tried to chain him up. I think they had to run this trial like 3 times. They tried to chain him up, and he would keep breaking the chains. And eventually, they had this magic ribbon made that was supposedly, you know, imbued with magical energy that would be powerful enough to subdue him and, you know, keep him tied up. But by that time, they had schemed and plotted on him and tried to chain him up a few times. So he was weary of him. And so the god Tyr, the one-handed god Tyr, agreed that if they were trying to play a trick on Fenrir, he would let him bite his arm off.
And that's why Tyr has one arm. Oh shit!
He stuck his wrist in Fenrir's mouth, and they tied the ribbon around him, and he fucking, you know, started wilding out, realized he couldn't get out, and so he fucking bit Tyr's arm off.
Yo.
And, yeah. They say, I mean, it's also in the lore that Tyr probably could have gotten away with, you know, keeping his arm, but he is also a god that is associated with like honor and the
justice.
Law, really heavily in justice. So he was like, "This is
fair payment.
This is fair payment, exactly."
Fire.
Fenrir
equivalent exchange.
Yeah, I bet
Fenrir
you we get a
is
Tyr
like
type
beast
dude
of chaos.
In here. What'd you say?
The son of Fenrir is a beast of chaos. One of the heralds for like the end of the world, and is the son of Loki.
Yep, son of Loki. I think his daughter is Hel. They're siblings.
Yep.
Fenrir and Hel are siblings. Yeah,
exactly.
Maybe we'll get a Hel character. Who knows? I definitely am like so down for like more mythology references. You know what I mean in Mashle, and if this is one, you know, then, which I'm pretty confident that it is, then like I'm so here for it. Like, give me more of this shit. Every chapter, fuck it.
Dude, this was like a kind of like sad section of the like chapter.
Yeah, it was super
like,
feelsy.
Like, this was one of the chapters that I was like, I feel really bad for 008.
Yeah, for sure. Like, in like such a quick amount of time too, because it's like so relatable. You know what I mean? And at least in the sympathy aspect of it, it's like we read so much about slavery in just like in fiction and nonfiction. You know what I mean? So it's like seeing this panel on the bottom of 11, like it might understand our language, but it only has animal intelligence. I was like, oh shit, here we go. Yeah. You need to shut up and just do what we say. Know your place, slave. And it's like, oh, of course he's gonna fuck with Mash after this. You know what I mean? Even though as quick as it was, like it was just so well delivered. You know what I mean?
And they say that these servant beasts serve their masters. So like those lines are coming from Orter.
Yeah.
That's very revealing about who he is and how he views hierarchies and where other people line themselves up on that hierarchy.
Yeah.
Like he's a person that demands a hierarchy be enforced.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like, oof. Brutal.
Page 7, he's like, we're cursed so that we cannot lay a hand upon our masters, so we obediently serve them in exchange. And like that line of like dialogue, I was like, okay. I was like, this is cool. I was like, this is really fucking cool. I like this. And I think what like didn't make me think about it all too much is like in exchange, you know, like the like, you know, like when he says like that, it like sounds like it's like almost mutual. You know what I mean? Like when 008 is explaining it, you know what I mean? And then it comes back to like Mash isn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but like his gut feelings like lead him in like the right direction pretty much every time. You know what I mean? So like it makes sense that he'd be like, okay, so what I got from that is that you don't want to be doing this, which makes all the sense in the world. And that is totally a way that you can take that. And that is the way that 008 really meant it. You know what I mean? But he's just reciting his lines, basically going through the motions, doing his job. You know what I mean? So the way that like the first explanation of it sounds cool and then the later explanation of it is sad while all being the same thing was just like really well executed by Komoto.
Yeah, multiple narrators kind of thing, where it's just like this gives you a full-fledged idea of exactly how it is. Like 008 lived his life in servitude, like, and like people that are stuck in any sort of like abusive situation tend to borrow the language and phrases of their oppressor, their abuser, so that they can communicate what's happening to them without expecting reprisals. Like, you do it. Everyone does. Like, so it's a really fucked up way that people can get trained in everyday life.
Yeah. But then, obviously, order comes through here at the end of the chapter. Smacks up, buddy. And basically, I was like, damn, oh shit, he got smacked up. Fuck. I thought it was Mosh that did it for a second. But then I was like, nah, that doesn't make sense. Why would he just smack him after he fucking...
Yeah.
Here's some emotional stimulation, and then I'm a sneak you when you're off guard type shit.
Mash is that guy. It looked like a little sand blast. Like, it's hard to see.
Right.
I think that Order's ability is
Sand
disintegration in sand, because like on page 19 he creates a cloud out of it. He shakes a cloud out of his like cape and wand, and like when he's fighting the Majin things, they look like they have big holes and lots of smoke. And
yeah, because if you look at the flashback, like 15, like they definitely have little like tendrils of like aura coming out of their like bony, you know, design or whatever. But then you turn the page to when Order beats one, and that aura now looks like, you know, motherfuckers disappearing after the Thanos snap. You know what I mean? It's that like dusty
particulate,
particle effect that, you know, implies disintegration. So yeah, at first I was just like, well, yeah, obviously he's like dusty and cloudy and sandy. He's like the Sand Cane or whatever he said he was. But like the disintegration factor of it is like really cool. I wonder how that works in like with sand though.
It was cool though, to see obviously this new concept introduced in the Majin, which is something that we've never heard about before. But
like evil genies.
Well, especially since they're like apparently such a serious threat, like you'd think maybe we would have heard something about them, but
yeah,
it was cool to see like, oh yeah, this dude took out 6 of them.
Yeah,
but
yeah, there's always that. You know, I don't want to say Dragon Ball. You know what I mean? Kind of like you know, like when you're watching Dragon Ball and you're like, okay, Frieza is the universe's biggest tyrant, and you know what I mean? Like we knew that Frieza was like that deal in the universe. Like once outer universal, you know, threats were kind of being introduced, like beyond Saiyans, we were like, okay, so this is the one that they were all kind of, you know, worried about and like dealing with, and he was in the background for a long time before he pulled up and then he was beaten. And then the farther you get in Dragon Ball, all of these more, you know, these bigger universal cosmic threats are pulling up that like no one literally ever mentioned in the series before they were conceptualized and like put into the story. You know what I mean? So it like makes you kind of feel like, oh, that feels kind of weird. You know what I mean?
Happened to
like,
Frieza though?
Yeah, like ever since then. Yeah, like ever since then, like whenever I notice that, you know, in comics, I always like think back to like Dragon Ball. And yeah, like this one.
I mean, it
like,
makes sense in some instances with like characters that could have like come up, you know, maybe that weren't on the radar yet. But then with, you know, then you get into the realm of like super shit where it's like gods of destruction.
Yeah, it's like this should have definitely
universal
been talked about
overseeing like organization.
But also, Mashle's less than 100 chapters, and like we've never had like specific dialogues. I don't think about like, you know, all of the biggest baddest things in the verse. You know what I mean? Like we talk about Innocent Zero, he's like the main bad guy, we're all focusing on him or whatever, and then anybody else that pulls up, it's like, oh yeah, I know that guy, or oh yeah, meet this guy, he's this, or this person over here is known for that. Like as we meet him, it's cool when it's early. You know what I mean? And I do think that it is still early enough for Mashle to where we can start getting concepts and getting information and name drops like these, and it's still not going to be like, wonder why they didn't bring them up before, you know what I mean? Because they never like, had like the war room discussion about like all of the universes or the world's biggest threats before, so it's fine, in my opinion.
Yeah. One thing they did to like kind of like get perspective on scale is that the Majin top class human magic users have the same energy as an average Majin. So like they're just like a prime wizard.
Yeah.
Kind of level of scope and ability.
Yeah, and you want to know what? No, because something like this, you'd think you'd hear about it in like a class or something. You'd think you'd hear like a ghost story about these things from like, some other, classmate or something, or some other member of the school. You know what I mean? Like these things are scary. If an average one, has the power of a top class human
visionary
mage, you know what I mean? Yeah, like that's, no, I think I agree with you, Eagle.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, it is tricky.
One of the things that I thought was interesting about this is they're like, his name is Order, and I was just looking at him, and he just like looks like a bastard Harry Potter. So Potter, Order, kind of
a little bit
similar.
Like Order of the Phoenix. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. But there's this one line that I thought was really interesting, like page 17. It's a human's inborn talent that determines their ability, intelligence, athletic capability, even magic. Yes, effort allows you to unlock and nurture that talent. However, you must first be blessed with talent. Master Order possesses the talent to rise above all in this world of magic.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, like, okay, so like they're really pushing the idea of like, I have magic and that's natural to me, so I'm the best. But I'm like, we now know that Mash, his body was made from the beginning to be a physically durable enough vessel to survive a transplant of souls by Innocent Zero.
Right.
So like, if we're talking about innate, born ability.
Yeah.
Mash is no slouch.
Yeah, for
either.
sure.
So like, I'm waiting.
Yeah,
and he's
absolutely.
just like, it's like, oh, you think you're special because you have talent? Yeah, I was born this way too.
Yeah. And this line of dialogue in this narration from 008 talking about Order, and like this that you're bringing up here, you must first be blessed with talent, that whole thing, it's given me big like One Punch Man villain vibes, where they like really hype the dude up like with their feats and their epithets and all of the mentions of how capable they are right before they get dusted like low effort, you know what I mean? So it's kind of worrying. I don't think Komodo's gonna do it, but like just like with the parallels to One Punch Man that we kind of already have inside of Mashle, and like just the history of the story in general, especially coming out of Macaron, it's like seeing this on page 17 had me like, oh my god, they're hyping this dude up way too much before he fights Mash. I was like, dude, I really need this to be, I mean, I don't need it to be something different. It's Mashle, you know what I mean? It's done a pretty good job of telling us what kind of story it's trying to tell. But I guess like sometimes I feel like the ways that it kind of subverts my expectations inside of a comedy series, that like, because it does get serious, and it does, like lean into, its serious concepts pretty often, especially coming out of the last couple of arcs, you know what I mean? So like those atmospheres have been there. So I guess that makes me think that, when it makes sense, they'll stick to that. But then like you literally just never know, you know what I mean? Like it can literally flip a switch at any time, and from serious to comedic, you know what I mean? So whatever Komodo, whatever decision Komodo wants to make in regard to the conclusion of this conflict, we just kind of have to like wait and see. We can't really use the history of the series to kind of guess anything because of how volatile it is in that way, you know what I mean? So
I thought when you said it's like, oh yeah, it's a little bit like One Piece, I was like, yeah, I could see that, because you go from 16, 17 and go straight
coming
to
for you.
18 when he's like, golly.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Yeah,
that's a One Punch Man
right.
pivot.
Yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? That is
Right
definitely a
there.
One Punch Man ass page turn. Master Order possesses the talent to rise above all in this world of magic. Okay.
Golly.
Yeah, you know, it's like literally like Boros
Wow,
versus
right?
Saitama. Yeah.
Wow.
But I like how
Wow.
the difference, you
Owen
know,
Wilson.
yeah, the difference in
Wow.
Mashle is that like usually other people are telling you about how tight characters are. It's not that they themselves going like, I'm this from this area with this power and these feats and this history and this acclaim. You know what I mean? Like it's usually in One Punch Man they're talking themselves up. But I want to say, like, at least with this example here and maybe other examples that we can look back in the series for, I feel like we always get secondhand information about how strong a character or, you know, an enemy is. Which is cool.
I like that Order doesn't mince words. He's like, I can't accept you. It takes one exception to collapse the system. We don't need you. I alone am enough, and I'll show you.
Yeah.
Very straightforward, brusque to the point. The idea that like it takes one exception to collapse the system, everything is in its place, and just looking at his face, like his lines, it looks like bricks almost, like a very square, almost brick-like. And I was wondering if his whole thing is that he is the brick wall, kind of thing.
I mean, you can definitely tie it to like how malleable sand is, sand castles. You know what I mean?
How
like
inflexible he is in comparison to his ability.
You could maybe even like try to argue that like the shape of his line is indicative. You could probably tie it back to sandcastles in some way. I don't know.
Oh, like those buckets?
Yeah, like, you know, like when you
sandcastle bucket.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's got that like skyline, you know, that sandcastle skyline like outline or whatever.
Yeah.
I could see that. That's cool.
Do you think he's gonna do a Sir Crocodile and just?
We'll probably see like the full range of sand techniques. You know what I mean? Like that we've ever seen. Like we'll probably see some like Toph style stuff. We'll see some. Well, maybe not inside of like
impact.
What'd you
really
say?
Hard. It absorbs impact. Like sand would absorb impact a lot. So like this might be a really bad matchup for Mash.
That was one of Spider-Man's problems fighting Sandman. You know what I mean? It's like
and
the wall of sand. Like,
what's gonna happen? And it's just like, is there gonna be an intervention by a third party and be like, hey, you're supposed to interview them, not murder them because you don't like them?
Right.
Like, is there that moment where it's just like
Wahlberg or the other blonde visionary steps in, possibly?
Yeah, it's just like, hey man, you're not fulfilling your job as an adjudicator.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you're not actually taking this seriously. You're just here to sell your own personal shit.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's about it for this Mashle chapter, though.
Yeah, loved it. Can't wait for the next one.
Straight to the point. Hit me some feels. Poor 008.
Yeah,
like, poor 008 for real.
This chapter had like everything in it that I love about Mashle, so no complaints really from me. Yeah, big beans vibes from 008 in his chibi form, absolutely. But yeah, I think I'm good too.
All right, well, with that, I think we can go ahead and move right into chapter 304 of Black Clover, Reality and Magic. And
how do we feel?
This is a decent chapter, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's obviously some wonky shit that went down that I'm sure not a lot of people wanted to happen. I don't know. I'm sure we are all kind of hoping for a little bit of
stakes,
consequence, and stake stuff from this chapter. But
gosh,
you
cool guy still wanted you to die, dude. No offense. No offense. You were cool,
dude.
Pretty sweet. Still wanted him to die.
This chapter doesn't even feel real. Like, it feels like...
It literally feels like a genre shift, right? Like, the way they're interacting, like, oh, how can I face my brother? How can I face Asta? How can I face my sister? Gaja, I love you.
Yeah,
you know, that stuff. It literally feels like a rom-com switch, like, Comey cannot communicate kind of stuff, right? It just... I was just like... Where was all that tension? And they're like, we're gonna die. From hell's heart I stab at thee. And then like it just changed into like a rom-com moment. And I was like, it was because I read the chapter before, and I usually read the chapter before and then the follow-up chapter to the thing, just to be like, hey man, like where is this going from last week? And like, I had whiplash, dude.
I had to read the chapter again. Like it legitimately like didn't. I was like this. I was like no. It feels like Tabata had his little cousin come in and write a fanfic chapter.
A little bit.
Really,
it was
the biggest miss of the chapter for me, like a missed opportunity.
You want to get in here? Come on in here. We fought in this shit anyway. Go ahead, go crazy. Sorry.
The biggest missed opportunity for me on something that could have been a really awesome moment as far as like character goes is, I'm fine with Real surviving at least. Charlotte, I'm neither here nor there about really. And Gaja, I was hoping that to kind of reinforce the stakes of this arc and like have some consequence. I was hoping that he would die, especially based on his injuries. I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
But I also think that this moment between him and Lolo Pechka could have been like really fucking awesome based on just like the art of this panel. Like
on which page?
On page 5.
4 and 5?
Page 4 and 5, yes. Like he could, if he would have just been like, Queen Lolo Pechka, I'm so glad you're safe. And they let him finish that line of dialogue. And right as he says that, just that magic that explosion of life force out of him, and he just boom. And then like that could have been a really badass moment.
Yeah.
Or not badass, but just like emotional.
It would feel right. And I'm cool
and maybe they could throw in, the bit about like, oh, since way back then, I never realized, but I've always loved you. And then he, falls out or whatever. But
yeah, I'm cool with Real and Charlotte surviving. Like that's all fine. But like Gaja's like a super side character. Like why did he need to live?
He got smoked.
Like that was your perfect opportunity to show like he was just at that point where he was just significant enough. You know what I mean? To have an impactful death in this war arc,
to have it matter to the character, but not so much
to have it matter to us, to have it matter to the reader, to the characters involved, like all that shit. Like he was right in that sweet spot to where like his death just made sense right there. You know what I mean?
His death made sense,
and it would have hit.
Yeah, and everyone else could survive, whatever. You know what I mean? Like cool, but like don't do all of that for Gaja because it's like. Real didn't have a gaping watermelon-sized hole in his solar plexus. Fucking Charlotte didn't convert all of her fucking life energy into an attack and, like, burn her shit out. You know what I mean? Like, this motherfucker got garroted and, like, converted all of his life energy into mana and blew it away.
And was curse poisoned and, like... They dragged him out for the fight.
Why'd you need to save him?
And like, I know that like for a lot of the Black Clover fans out there, they're gonna be like, these guys are just shooting on it. But like, this is a war, and I really expected some deaths. I saw more deaths when the White Midnight Eye attacked the Clover capital. Like I saw more people dying in the streets there.
Oh, sure.
Like in the background. But like even in Spade Kingdom, that's not really shown.
We had that one we kind of had that one scene at the beginning of Spade where Xenon went to Diamond and just decimated their shit. It was like one of like the most drastic cliffhangers probably in the arc because we literally had no information and this dude just took out an entire area, you know what I mean, by himself, you know what I mean? So like that shit was wild, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think they died. Maybe they did. They probably did. You know what I mean? I don't think it was ever stated. But like they look pretty fucked up. But I mean like who knows, like you don't really know what looking dead means in Black Clover, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean I don't know. The only reason I don't really like get super upset about this is like I don't know, me personally, like I know we've had many conversations about this on the podcast as far as like what we kind of all look for in different certain types of series or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
But I always kind of bring myself back to a place where I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird, but at the same time, you read other series where people don't necessarily die. Like One Piece obviously comes to mind.
Sure.
There's certain situations in One Piece even where it's like, man, this person really should have died.
Yeah.
Or even when you said like it's a war, people are gonna die. Like you think back to Alabasta, Luffy says the same thing to Vivi, like this is a war, there's gonna be casualties. Nobody really dies even then, other than probably fodder like soldiers in the armies or whatever. But
stakes and consequence
There's
in
like
other
stake
areas in One Piece,
in
though.
in One Piece. There's always that passive like stake building in the opposing forces of the world, or like even the world government itself, like as far as corruption goes, and their like level of attention, let's say, towards Luffy.
Yeah.
Uh,
And just how information spreads in One Piece. It's like if a pirate, and like so many characters are intermingled with each, like are intertwined with each other. It's like if a news coup drops down and you hear some shit about what happened in the last arc, one character might want to capitalize on what they think to be an opportunity inside of that situation. So you'll have people coming in trying, like you have all of those kind of thoughts in like the back of your mind, you know, like because the world is just that big and so many characters matter and they have so many opposing goals and motivations and so many pasts that are involved, you know, like, or so many you have all these crazy pasts and histories between these characters, you know what I mean? So it's like you never know what can happen in One Piece whenever anything goes down, you know what I mean? But in Black Clover it's very black and white. These motherfuckers were supposed to die and Mimosa just hand waved it, you know what I mean? Like it's cool, whatever, it's foreshadowed or whatever that, you know, they're saying about it. Like because you foreshadowed it doesn't mean it's good, though. You can foreshadow trash, bro. You know, like just own it. You know what I mean? Like it being foreshadowed isn't enough to save this. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
this is
I thought
very,
it was
very anticlimactic, very cringy, in my opinion.
I liked the build up, the like desperation of like trying absolutely everything, trying to heal them. I really liked it, like, you know, it's like they did the right thing, they worked so hard, we just can't let them die. Like the, you know, the cycle of death where they don't you know, anger, denial, bargaining, all that stuff. Like, no, if we could just do a little more, if we could just do a little more. I think that they could have had like a lot of emotional impact. And then like even like Noct is just like I really liked Noct's line on page 8 where it's like not everyone who's right is necessarily rewarded for it. That's reality.
Yeah, that was fire.
And
Yeah,
it's like
that
and
was
then him
fire.
saying, although I did want them to be rewarded, and if they had just let Gaja die at that point, all of those like 4 pages of emotional setup would have had a payoff.
Right.
And that's like my big bugaboo. That's my big curmudgeon about it.
Yeah.
Like I like Black Clover in a sense that like it's a very like easy to read, easy reading, like feel good series. Like I think that like Mimosa's line, like let's overrule reality. After all, that's what magic does. And I think that this is like one of the most unabashed taglines for the series. Like if you could say, hey, what's the one line from the series that would sum up this series? I would use this line on page 11. Let's overrule reality. That's what magic does, right? Boom.
Sure. It's a hard line. I'm not gonna lie. It's like that's a tight line of dialogue. It was just like so poorly placed. You know what I mean?
That's something. Well, I don't know. That's something to me that was like, okay, makes sense.
I mean,
yeah, like it's the only way it can make sense to me.
Honestly, like in the moment, it's like that's just not what you say here. You know what I mean? Like that's like I like that this page right here, like this like panel will just overrule reality. After all, that's what magic does, right? It's like that's fine. That's so Black Clover, that feels great. But saying that after you just hand waved like all of the damage that like multiple chapters were building up as legitimate, it's awkward. It's like awkward like that. Like yeah, like don't put that there. You know what I mean? Like say that literally like any other time in the war room while you're trying to like rally everyone. You know what I mean? Or something
Martha?
Like that. Yeah.
My mother's name is Martha. Wait, what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. What are you fight each other? What are you doing?
It's just like it's so like I did not like that page like at all.
I wonder if it's like I do like the art for Mimosa, like page 9 to page 10.
Yeah.
Like it's very Midsommar.
Oh yeah, I never saw that movie.
It reminded me of Midsommar where she has like the giant flower crown. And I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. Like I like that. That art's pretty tight.
Great drawing.
I don't know why Noct is like naked, half naked.
I think because he like got his ass whooped a bunch or whatever.
Mm.
Like lost like his clothes like in the fight against Nama and Lilith, I think, is who are the demons that or the devils that he was fighting.
Yeah, I
or
remember
whatever.
those
I think he just got his clothes blown off in that. But
I do like at page 8 he has those little wiggly little hands, and it reminds me of Truth from Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
But yeah, it definitely was kind of a genre change.
Yeah, dude, it was weird.
Or it's like,
it was just
like,
weird in the middle of all of this.
But as a woman, that I fell for you is. And they're just like, there's still a third dude we gotta kill.
Yeah, it's just like a very weird tone shift to inject after all of that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this
I
just feels
understand
wrong
wanting
in
a
a lot of
happy
places.
ending.
Yeah, for sure.
That.
But it's like you still got more to do
but
here,
you
and
set
it's
up
like
a sad ending.
Yeah,
like, you straight up put all you built 10 miles of track leading towards a sad, bittersweet ending, and then you went with like coffee with extra sugar and cream, and I'm like, this is not what I ordered.
Yeah, and it just like makes the cliffhanger, like it makes the last page just like not matter to me like at all. You know what I mean? Because it's like
I think he looks kind of cool, the bad guy. He reminds, like, all his tentacles and stuff remind me of Ivy from Soul Calibur.
Oh, sure. Oh, fuck, so, like, yeah.
Like a spinal segmented sword blades.
Yeah,
or
Xenon's form is fire.
Octopus.
Dude,
he looks Dr. Octopus on him.
Yep, a little bit of that. Yeah, Xenon's form is fire. Yeah, Xenon's form is great. I love that. But man, it's like, am I supposed to be worried for Yuno and Langris?
Not anymore. I don't feel
I mean, not that
I
really was originally, but like, see, this is my thing. I don't feel, it's like what I've been saying, like, since Witch Forest. Like, I don't feel the stakes in Black Clover. There's no tension. I'm never worried about anything. We have too many examples of things just going the way they need to, like, and even when they seem like they're not going the way that they need to, there's enough examples in the story to let us know that it's still going to be okay. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day. And like, if they even save Gaja, like, what, like, why should I care about Xenon versus Langris and
like, the only way that's going to be scary is if they kill Mimosa first.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. if they neutralize Mimosa,
target the healer.
Yeah. If they aggro Mimosa and stun lock her and like just like remove her from whatever, then just all of a sudden like stakes kind of start to come back because you don't have this, you know, this perfect healer, you know, available. But still, like, even without that, like, Mimosa hasn't been here for like a lot of like shit that's happened in Black Clover. You know what I mean? Like, they find a way. They find a way to save everyone. They find a way to keep them from having long-lasting consequences. I mean, besides Fuego Leon and Julius. You know what I mean? Those are two pretty
Julius
good examples.
Into a child, and it's not like a super hard consequence. It's like, oh no, you're younger now. Great. Like,
I remember thinking about like Julius when he came back, and I was like, oh, this is some bullshit. You know what I mean? And then they kind of like, I don't know. At least he's still less effective. Isn't as strong. Like, he's like, you know, effectively a non-combatant. Like, you know, kind of moved to a, you know, to a tactics like role, like give information, give advice. You know what I mean? Like, kind of role, which is cool. You know what I mean? You got to take the most broken dude on the protagonist side. Like look at Gojo getting sealed. You know what I mean? I kind of just look at
you have to
like kind of, you know. Yeah, so Julius is like fine or whatever. Like, I still don't really like it, but I mean, like, that's not like the most egregious thing that Black Clover's ever done, in my opinion. Like, that was actually handled decently. And Fuego Leon came in, left, he was taken out of the story. Like, they hyped him up, and then they're just like, you just don't get this guy for like 5 arcs. And I was like, oh shit, okay, well, you know what I mean? Like, that's all fine and dandy, but like, outside of that, it's like everyone else just goes into a war with all of these stakes, all of these threats, all of this damage that they take throughout that we're supposed to care about, and then reset at the start of the next arc with higher base stats now, because they've grown. I wonder if in the last fight, you know, so
we're going Super Saiyan this time. We nearly died. It means we're stronger now.
Yeah, there's definitely a Zenkai situation in Black Clover, but
I wonder if Gaja would suffer from like a sort of like magical burnout as a form of stakes, and like be like Julius, where he takes more of an administrator role. He's like, hey, you can't be the #1 warrior, but you can still, you know, act as an advisor, consort to your queen, who you have just been like, hey, mama, I love
Yeah.
you.
Well, that's
I've
cool.
always loved you.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I would like that because like, you know, I'm not gonna get sorry, Gaja, you're cool. I still want you to die. But like
Yeah.
if he's not gonna do that, he could definitely ease into that sort of thing. And it would fit the sort of happy ending,
Yeah.
you know, when the dust settles kind of
Right.
thing for what's going on, what's been going on.
That's
So
definitely
I
something that
think
they
that
could
would be a
do
good
that
one.
would feel cool. You know what I mean? They say like,
Mhm.
"Hey, you lived," you know what I mean? But like you don't get magic anymore or something
You
like that, or
burned
you
yourself
have
out.
barely any because you legitimately converted it into life force and like shot it out, you know what I mean? So it's gone, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like there's got to be
Most of your
something there for that, you know? Yeah.
90% of your magic is used to re-extend your lifespan to a normal amount, and so you have access to 10% of your magic. You can turn on light bulbs and you can teleport through lightning short distances, but
Yeah.
other than that, it takes a minute to charge up like a good javelin or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. You know what I mean? Like you got like that would be cool. But then at the same time, it's like Gaja was just like barely the character that kind of situation would slap for. Like if that kind of thing happened to like uh oh man, why am I blanking on the lightning user on the Black Bulls?
Luck.
Luck, yeah, my
Look,
bad. Yeah, like if Luck, you know what I mean? Like if something like that happened to Luck, like the one, like the smoke demon of the group that's like
mm-hmm.
always trying to fight, and you remove him from the series in that way, like you used up too much, you used up your life force or whatever. Like you lived, you know what I mean? Like you like Mimosa healed you, but you can't fight no more. You know what I mean? Like that would be devastating. That would be worse than
Yeah,
Real dying. You know, or I
that'd
mean,
be
worse
devastating.
than Luck dying. You know what
I
I
think
mean?
it, oh man, because I could imagine like an end of series moment with like
Yeah.
Luck burning himself out and he's like crying because he can't like fight anymore. But
Mhm.
then when they ask him, it's like, hey man, are you okay? And he's just like, I don't regret anything.
Yeah.
I hate this,
Yeah.
but I don't regret anything.
Shit
And
like
that
that,
would be a
yeah.
beautiful moment.
That shit like that would slap, you
Beautiful,
know what I mean? But like
heartrending.
Gaja, you know what I mean? Like Gaja, it's like we just haven't, in my opinion, we haven't spent enough time with him to where a stitch like even though like that would make it feel better in this moment after all of
Mm-hmm.
this after the events of this chapter, it's like at the end of the day, Gaja just wasn't that kind of character to where it's like that's going to hurt me all that much, you know what I mean, to find
Mm-hmm.
that out after all of this. Like it's literally just damage control. It would just feel like damage control to me. If that happened, it wouldn't be like, oh man, Gaja can't fight no more, really.
He
Oh,
wasn't
like I
fighting much this
yeah,
fight.
like I barely knew this dude, you know what I mean? But
Be like going to a bar and some guy's like, "Oh, my cousin did this," and I'm like, "I don't even know you.
right.
Why would I care about your cousin? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that sucks."
So
I'm
what are
gonna
we
go.
thinking? Like says I'll finish him with my next attack. You think Langris is gonna buy him that time? He's gonna try to use the attack. It's gonna be ineffective in some kind of way because that's the subversion, of this final line of dialogue, and then like that's gonna make us go, oh shit, what's he gonna do next? And then some heart of the
Langus
cards
lasts
shit
3
comes in and
seconds.
finishes the job, yeah, or some shit. You know what I mean? Like it's like I don't even know what to expect from this shit anymore, bro. Like I know, like it feels like Tabata tries to, do some cool shit sometimes, and like the road there like seems really promising, and then
Do you
it just
feel
like
like it's a
always
case
falls
of
flat.
I've seen some writers where they try almost too hard to subvert any expectations, and by doing that stuff of like not following a general trajectory, they create things that sometimes feel unreadable.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like he just can't meet all of the conditions for the things that he's trying to execute on. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
feels like he's got like a really good idea, and like he's like, okay, we can lean into these tropes, we can do this differently, and we can do boom, 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 boom. But then like once the picture's painted, you're like, oh, well,
What was the attempt here? Like
yeah,
it didn't land. Um, and like I don't think overall it's like a bad series or anything like that, but it's very much like I think it's definitely geared towards like a younger audience because
oh
like we
shit,
are reading Shonen Jump, right?
right,
Like we are part of the older audience for Shonen Jump. So we like series like Jujutsu Kaisen. We love series where like One Piece kind of grew with us, you
right,
know?
yeah,
Like One Piece started out very kid friendly
yeah.
and then it just got progressively darker and darker.
Yeah, I see what you mean there. So yeah, definitely, yeah, we're part of the older, shonen
Yeah.
fans who
So, like,
really
it's just
appreciate the newer kinds of storytelling, and then this one is just
yeah, and this
probably
is
just for that
definitely. I
younger
feel
generation.
like Black Clover is just definitely aimed at the shonen side of Shonen Jump.
Sure.
So I think from that perspective, it carries itself pretty well.
Yeah.
This was an awkward chapter.
Sure.
I wonder if they used this sort of like emotional revelation with like "I love you" and saving people and stuff as a way to not initially go into the Xenon fight, like go straight into the Xenon fight and leave it at like a large cliffhanger because um, Tabata is going on a hiatus or has been said to go on a hiatus soon.
Yeah,
So
you
I
did
feel
say
like
that.
maybe, so I feel like there may be like setting this up, putting some like filler, some fluff, some emotional boosts, end on a high note, clean finish, then get back into the series, let it be serious, let it be, the brutal fight scenes, etc.
Sure. I mean,
I feel like it's just, I feel like it's a little bit like there's a moment of like buying time.
yeah, maybe. I forgot that he's going to be away for Weekly Shonen Jump 40. I don't know if it's going to be any more than that, but I do know that it was like an unplanned like last minute kind of like thing, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So that is I'm kind of
So
worried
this
for
might
him.
be a reason why this chapter feels rushed and a little out there. And he's like, "Hey, man, I'm worried about stuff.
I wonder if he's
Like-
okay. Yeah.
Like, hey, man, I'm worried about stuff. Got health. I'm a mangaka. I've got chronic health problems due to stress. And workload and stuff. So
The life
maybe,
of a mangaka. Yeah.
yeah, it's rough. It's a rough gig. It's harder on your body than some pro wrestlers.
Yeah. So wait a minute. Hold
Yeah.
on. Question actually. Now that I'm looking at page 14, shortly before Megikula's defeat. So I remember someone saying that like she was only like partially manifested when Noelle was fighting her with Nozel and Gaja and Lolo Pechka and shit, like all that shit that we
Yeah.
just came out of. She was only partially manifested. So some people thought that because of that, like she wasn't actually defeated, and maybe only like she was just partially defeated because of that
Yeah,
or whatever.
her
It looks like
avatar.
it looks like she's legitimately just defeated though.
Yeah, because like the little soldiers at the beginning of page 1 and 2, they're melting away.
Yeah.
So it's like,
But
well,
that does raise a question though, because she was only partially out. It wasn't full power
Yeah.
Megikula. You know
so
what I
she's
mean?
still hiding behind the seal, just waiting for Xenon to just let her through.
Or maybe because like whether you're partially manifested or fully manifested, you still have that core that Noelle destroyed. So like it doesn't matter whether you were partially manifested or not. But if they did defeat her while she was partially manifested, then like that feels like kind of awkward too, because it's like usually you let your villains show their full capabilities before they're defeated.
Yeah. I wonder if there's gonna be like a demon fusion thing.
Yeah,
where-
that's by the way,
Yeah.
like that's definitely not like I did just say like feels kind of awkward, but I guess it's not really a complaint of mine that they defeated Megikula before she was fully manifested. She got a lot of screen time. She did a bunch of moves, a bunch of magic. It was a huge, crazy fight. Like that shit was tight as fuck. You know what I mean? Like that makes sense as a final fight for Megikula. But I just remembered someone said that in the comments section, and I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then she's just done actually, and it's like, maybe she's not. Maybe she comes back. But I mean, like.
I think it'd be
Usually after things like that, characters are done in Black Clover. It's not like a One Piece where you can do a crazy finishing move on a motherfucker like 7 times, and they still got plot points that they need to be involved in. So they're coming back.
I had the Orochi fruit, and you cut my head off 7 more times before I die.
Type shit, yeah.
No, I can see that. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of interesting in the idea of the bad guys lacking empathy and not caring about others. Xenon opening up the portal and pulling like a wounded Megicula through and just feasting upon her to like power himself up.
Yeah.
Because I could be like, okay, you manifested, but it got prevented. It got aborted. It got destroyed. Your core was damaged. You're behind the seal. You're regenerating.
Yeah.
Like,
wonder if we're gonna get any more just a look inside of who the Dark Triad are as characters, right? I feel like I've been waiting for like flashbacks or like I know that we got a little bit for Dante one time, and then like maybe there was another flashback for some other character like in before or after that, but
yeah, like
it's like we're getting
host,
like nothing.
I played with cats and I killed them.
Yeah, we're getting nothing on these guys, and they're just like getting defeated. And I know that this isn't One Piece where everybody gets a flashback right before they're beaten or whatever, but like.
But if Gaja
like,
gets true romance,
are we gonna get anything in the arc at all? Period. Maybe
if
after they're
Gaja
all
gets
defeated.
true romance, can the Dark Triad get a little fleshing out of? I know he's a spooky skeleton man right now, but
yeah.
I want a little meat on them bones.
I mean, at least for one of them, like Xenon's the one. Like, okay, so Dante's defeated, Vanica's defeated. Xenon has always felt like the deepest character of the three, anyway. So it's like, are you gonna give him some pathos? Yeah, like what are we gonna do here with like the Dark Triad members themselves? Is my question.
Maybe it'll be like a retrospective thing where like after they beat him, they'll be having a conversation like, what the fuck was even up with those dudes? Like we didn't even ever learn anything about them. Like their motivations, like what the fuck were they even on bumpers like that for? And then maybe like we did get the one dude who ran away from the Spade Kingdom to tell about his lineage. Maybe he knows a little more than he initially let on, and he like maybe or somebody else steps in like, listen, this is the situation with how these motherfuckers came together and like what their motivations really were or something like this. But
yeah, we could get some after the fact shit. That'd probably feel really good if we got something like that afterwards. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think that's about.
I hope Tabata is okay.
I hope Tabata is okay too.
I hope that they can keep doing what they're doing and doing what they enjoy. But like,
absolutely.
Yeah, life comes at you fast.
For sure. Yeah, that's all I had.
That's all I had as well. Well, with that, I think we can go ahead and get right into chapter 324 of Boku no Hero Academia, A Young Woman's Declaration. And we get a nice little cover panel this time. Uraraka looking on at this happy dude as the hero is saving the situation or whatever.
Yeah.
And that punk Labrador man.
Yeah. And this chapter in general is just an awesome Uraraka chapter, I think, like we've been wanting.
Yeah.
This is just pretty much a whole chapter dedicated to her just spitting at these people.
Spitting hot lava.
Spitting hot lava, magma on them.
Spitting acid rain. They don't even know what to do, man. Like she's really getting inside the ears and hearts of these people, man. I love to see it.
She's reading them their rights, dude. Because like, I think it's really interesting that a guy wearing an All Might shirt is just like, no, I don't want him here. Are you saying that we should be covered in grime and filth? And she's like, hell no. We're the ones that bear that burden. But like, we need to wash it off sometimes.
Right.
It's like, we're human too. Like,
yeah. That's the big one. That's the big one. Because it's like, people have a point in that these are public servants. These are heroes. These are their job that they signed up for to protect these people. And these are times where, society's view on heroes' capability and their trust in them is like at one of the lowest points it's ever been, if not the lowest. You know what I mean? So they have points there, but like there's equal points on the side of like, yeah, we signed up for this and we're trying to do this, but like we're going through it too with y'all. And I know that we are supposed to be the ones that protect you, but like clearly we've run into something that we couldn't possibly have, prepared for or predicted, and we're doing our best, but like you gotta let us fucking chill. Like we are not machines, you know what I mean? As much as we want to be, like we're fighting for our fucking lives out here and yours, you know what I mean? Like I can't do this shit 24/7 as much as I want to. Like I gotta come back to the crib and reset. Let me reset. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
damn.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then another really impactful thing that she says, obviously, like kind of the main focal point, at least artistically, of the chapter, the double spread here on 12 and 13, and the dialogue leading up into it on like 10, 11, and 9.
Yeah.
Basically where she's saying like, this is his hero academy. Like you think of just the high school aspect of the show, like late into life, a high school is considered somewhere that you can think and go back to as a safe place where you kind of, depending on, I guess, your experience in the high school, but like in general,
It's kid
as a
shit.
place, as a safe place
Yeah.
where you can go back and like reminisce on memories and shit. And even high school reunions, 20, 30 years down the line, they're having you come back to your high school, see these people you went to school with, catch up on what's going on in life and shit. And she's like, look, this is his fucking school. And even past that, he's a fucking kid still.
He's
Like
a
he's
high
literally
school kid.
he's fucking 14 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
All right, all
she's
you
like,
grown
yo,
ass motherfuckers. 30.
this is his fucking
Yeah.
school, and you're trying to tell him he can't even come back here? Like,
Right.
oh man.
Yeah.
It's like we're
absolutely.
sheltering you, and you say that he can't come to his own school,
Yeah.
and he's doing all this stuff for you, like,
Yeah.
and he's like, they're like, he's taking responsibility. He's got plenty of learners. He's a regular high school kid.
Yeah.
And I like the person that's like, yeah, but, and then she just ignores him and says, this place is his school.
Yeah.
Like, let him stay here.
Yeah. And I understand that, they're scared and tensions are high, but like eventually, you kind of come out of that like rage mode and just see a 14, 15, whatever year old boy covered in blood and mud on his knees, like crying in front of him.
his
It's like
heart
you've
out.
been looking at this kid the entire time. Like wake the fuck up, dude. Like, yeah, like you're in danger because he's here, but like this is a child, son. You
And
know what I mean?
there's so many throwbacks in this chapter that I
Y'all are
absolutely
grown.
adore.
Throwback to his pose when he's crying. Kimi wa hiro ni naru. Oh,
Fire.
Oh, man.
I thought of that too, man. That's so fucking great, bro.
So, page 8, and page 7, there is Eel Boy during the My Villain Academia arc.
Yeah.
Twice stabs that dude in the head.
Yeah.
Back of the
wild.
dome. That guy, Eel Boy, is dead.
Yeah.
Like, I like that touch because it's like Uraka's like, that's a formative memory for her. That is something that she will cherish and like fortifies her in her moments of doubt. In this moment of doubt, it fortifies her. And it's a world that cannot exist anymore. And I
Yeah.
love that stuff.
Yeah. Fire.
I like that part where she's like, we can all, I want to make a world where we can all smile together, because she feels regret when she felt like she failed Toga and felt like, Toga's just like, you're not gonna help me. Like, I have to fight you. Because you're not gonna help me. And Toga's heart broke down a little bit. She was like, I thought we could be friends, even
Yeah.
if we were on opposite ends. Like,
Yeah.
I really thought, hoped, that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. I like the idea that, that line that Deku says, you looked like you were hurting, and my body just moved on its own. And I love that a kid and the lady that he helped, like,
yeah.
Kota.
bust out.
Yeah, Kota.
Kota.
Kota. Yeah.
Kota, and all these dudes that are like, that lady that all the people on Twitter are thirsting after, runs out.
Which one? This one with like the fox face?
Yeah,
The Fox lady, yeah.
I went
She
on
do
Twitter.
be kind of tall and curvy though. Wait a minute, I
Hey,
didn't really
every-
look like that.
every-
No, let me show.
Everyone went total Toto. They're like, it's a tall girl with a big butt. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
It's just like, I was like, Twitter, that's enough for one day. I'm gonna turn this off.
Furry Twitter getting
Yeah.
lit.
But that was a huge moment to see. At least Kota, less so for me, the Fox lady, but like Kota for sure was heavy, running out to
Yeah.
just embrace Deku. Like, yo,
Yeah.
oh, my man's.
Yeah,
you
seeing-
need to chill.
Yeah.
Seeing Kota come in with the tears streaming, yeah, fire. And
Yeah,
like I know we don't
I-
know that girl as much, but like she had a rather impactful moment for a lot of people, while
Yeah.
he was running
She's-
through and doing his thing. So
I mean, she's representative of like the kind of underprotected minorities.
Right.
Well,
you know,
she's no.
the
Well, she's like a
metamorphic
big.
humans.
yeah.
Yeah, she's the racism that goes on within the
Yeah,
quirk society.
so
Like, she's
I
kind of the
really
focal
appreciated her
point of
presence
that
there.
narrative point that we get. Like, she's the representative of that narrative point for the most part.
I would say that's Spinner, but yeah.
Spinner on the villain side of things, but like in this moment, it's her.
Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely.
On this side of the storytelling, yeah.
I want to say she's like one of the only examples that we've gotten of this as like a character. Besides, I mean, like, well, obviously we have the Spinner stuff, and then like you have like the whole like like basically the KKK, you know what I mean, kind of situation that we have in here for
the human heteromorph.
So yeah, like we've seen it like a little bit, and like when we do see it, it's like really potent. But like, yeah, I think this is one of the only examples we have of someone on our side that we're supposed to care about being a victim of that. Yeah.
Throwback to the early chapters. Page 15. Grandpa with the star on his chest is literally the guy is like, oh, kid, you want to be a hero? You can do it. And I don't know if that grandpa even recognizes him. He's just got this blank face, like,
Yeah, he is sitting there, dude. I forgot all about that guy.
But I do like that moment where like everyone's like, oh, I have good intentions, and yeah, good for you. And then when it comes down to it, like, I don't know, get him out of here, like, maybe, you know, the fickle fair weather public. But I like that. I would like to say one thing. There's this group on the internet that comes out, and it's like comic book reads, like .org. It's like the BuzzFeed of thing. It pops up if you have like a blank tab on your thing. It pops up all the time, and they're like, turns out my Deku isn't the greatest hero of all time because they said we were all heroes. And I'm like, that is the stupidest read I've ever heard.
Oh, period. in the last narration box on the last page, the story of how we all became the greatest heroes.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that does not exclude the fact that he is like, if Deku becomes the greatest hero of all time and he basically becomes the next All Might, puts down All for One, he's still the greatest hero of all time. But at the same time, My Hero Academia literally tells a story about how one person cannot shoulder and take care of everything else for the rest of the world. It has to be a group effort. It is community. Yes. It is your friends. It is your circle. It is your network. That is the strongest point. All for One knows it too. He literally uses threat and leverage to amass a network and then use that network to tear you down systematically day in and day out. He never confronts someone directly unless he thinks he's going to win.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's just like,
wow.
I get really pissed off at reads like that, where I'm just like, come on, there's a little nuance. Like,
I can't be on like CBR and like all of those,
that's it.
Like,
CBR. That CBR site just pisses me off, and I'm like, that is the shallowest thing. Like, did you just feed this through like a bot, and it just said, it read the words, like it said this, and it also said this, therefore A cannot be true, and I'm like,
yeah, they suck. They suck.
You're really dialing it in, bro.
It's insane how they're still a thing, even. But you get your network
because they're like so wrong half the time, and I'm just like.
Like, what do you, like, a million people aren't going to unsubscribe simultaneously, so it's like once you have a big enough network, it's like you're pretty much self-sustaining no matter what you do.
Too big to fail.
Yeah.
Like a bank.
Yeah, it's too bad. Fuck man. CBR, though. Those guys suck.
Those guys suck.
Describe to us.
But yeah, man.
Just...
This Endeavor panel on 7, I wanted to shout out this Endeavor panel on 7 because he just looks so like I don't even remember this hat that he's wearing. So like I turned the page into this and I was like, damn, I've never seen Endeavor. I feel like this is like just
he's got a hat on.
Yeah,
he's feeling his age.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, he looks like old. Yeah,
he looks like a PI
for real.
He looks like an old timey private investigator,
noir
rain
type
slicker. He looks like a noir detective.
Yeah,
L.A. noir,
flame noir.
Yeah, but yeah, dude, this was just like the cherry on top of this stretch of storytelling. I wonder how much longer it's gonna go like this. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder, like, because I'm like halfway expecting just villains to just drop in at the end of these chapters, like the last like 2 or 3 chapters. Like when you're really feelsy, like really thinking that everything is kind of like come, you know, like where it needs to be. And you're like, all right, my people are coming together. And then boom, door gets kicked in by some drastic quirk and like villains flood in type shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm almost expecting that at the end of these chapters. And I'm sure that now that all of this like really heartfelt, like developmental, progressive stuff is kind of done, that like shit's probably gonna start turning up again pretty quick.
I think so too. I'm really excited for the team tactics with Midoriya in the mix, planning, carrying it out, working together as a team, because he has so many quirks. He's studied his friends and peers relentlessly.
Yeah, I do think they do. I do think they let him rest though. Like I think that he finally does get like his bed and he gets to chill for like a little bit. But I do think
he's gonna have a hard heart to heart with his mom, and like maybe
he's got to talk to his mom.
He's gonna have to, because his mom's like, "Hey, you should quit being a hero, please. Like I know this is what's been driving you, keeping you like around all these years, like driving you, keeping you afloat from like crippling depression."
I don't know if she'll try the stop being a hero thing again. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think so. But she
leaned into that hard as fuck.
She leaned into that hard, and so like this is a moment where she's like, "I can't stop you, but I'm worried about you."
Or maybe when
I just need to appreciate the time we have right now.
Yeah, that shit would be like, I feel like Deku might go up to her, and before she could even say anything, he's gonna be like, "I know you see all this stuff and you're worried like crazy and you want me to quit, but like you gotta understand, like," and she's just like, "Don't even say it, bruh. Like I want you to keep going. I'm not here to tell you to like stop being a hero. Like we already had that conversation. I'm just happy you're safe right now. Everyone's seeing it was the hardest part was seeing everyone cuss you out, you know, type shit like that. You know what I mean? Like I would love a scene like that." But I'm sure that whatever interaction him and his mom have, Kohei's gonna write the shit out of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, regardless.
There's this moment. I keep going back to page 17, and I think that like Deku is the hero of the outliers because he didn't have a quirk. Like Koda is an outlier within the society because he resented the society that cheered on his parents' death. So he hates heroes, right? Like he loves Deku. He still probably hates heroes in general.
Right.
Like low key, you can't, like you're a kid, you can't change your mentality that quickly.
Right.
And like the lady's a heteromorph, like a heteromorphic woman, like that, like, you know, they are outcasts of a sort.
Anthropomorphic?
They called them.
They do have
they called them heteromorph.
Yeah. You're right.
Heteromorph, yeah.
Yeah, they do say that. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. So like, I think it's interesting that the ones that come to his rescue are the outliers.
Oh yeah.
That aren't often rescued.
Yeah. That's such a wow. That's a great.
Like this chapter literally made me cry. I was so.
My eyes got warm, man. They got warm and scratchy. I'm not gonna cap. I was definitely fully invested and immersed into the chat. I felt like I was there.
I shed a tear as well, man. It started shedding tears on 12 and 13, the Devil Spread.
Yeah,
this
for sure.
This is his Hero Academy.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I just thought about the title.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. And then through to page 17, I was like, on 17, it reactivated.
Well, just page 12 and 13, like while we're here, like the perspective on this is just amazing for the moment. And you have the clouds that, like everything kind of like moves up towards that like gray point, you know what I mean, in the sky, that all of the clouds are kind of like drawn to be like circling around, you know what I mean? So just like dynamically, it just is such an aesthetic page, you know what I mean?
Everything's
like,
oppressive, cold, overwhelming, dark, and then there's that tiny speck of light of Uraraka on top of the building.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little, like, I like that they highlighted her in like a little halo of light, and she is that one point of light that's going to break the darkness. I want the storm in the coming chapters really badly.
Wait, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? You kind of like froze for a sec.
I really want in the following chapter for her going from being that speck of light in the darkness on page 12 and 13 to like the storm cresting, breaking, and opening up, lightening up atmospherically to enhance the crowd, eventually warming up to him, showing empathy. Like their eyes are unclouded, much like the sky.
Wow.
That kind of thing.
That'd be some beautiful imagery. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. That shit would be fucking
but
awesome.
Like Kohei does that stuff, and like we were talking about in the Black Clover thing, where like if you have a setup and you have some payoff, sometimes just go for the obvious payoff. It's okay.
Yeah.
And like Kohei does that. He goes hard. He's been leading up this moment of like true Deku breaking down, showing absolute vulnerability to the point that people feel like they need to save him.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's beautiful. That was really well said, bro. You got me in my feels right now. I'm just like staring at this.
Did I make you a little scratchy?
Like, yeah, I'm like staring at this spread again now. I'm just like, God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then you turn the page and it's just the big sob bawling full page dedicated
to just him.
Yeah.
Full emotions.
Like, oh,
and that's,
man.
And I love Nezu's face. He is like shocked that this is going on. And like, he's the smartest fucker in this series.
Yeah.
Next to All for One. I think that Nezu actually is smarter than All for One.
Sure.
And he's already like looking at this and he's like kind of projecting like, if these kids can do this, I know what they could do in the future. He's already imagining a glorious future for them. And even if that glory is bloody and brutal and just harsh, hard living, he can see them doing good things, great things.
Yeah, man.
Well, that and he's thinking about the societal shit he was talking about in the previous chapter where they're like one step away, and he's just thinking back to that one step away, and now he's like, oh, is this final step being taken?
Yeah.
Yeah. This was one for
and
the
then
books,
like
man.
it has the one step away. A page immediately follows it. Coda stepping, footwear, focusing on feet. I love the little throwback to it's got to be the red ones. What shoes do you want? Like I love that.
The Deku 11s.
The Deku
5s,
the Deku 3s.
The Air Izukus.
The Air Izukus, yeah.
Well, I think that's about all I had for this chapter, My Hero.
Yeah,
so
incredible
sad.
chapter. This was amazing, and I think
this was a payoff chapter like a motherfucker.
Yeah, absolutely. Great discussion, boys.
All right, then with that, I think we can go ahead and move right into the Piece de Resistance. Chapter 1023 of One Piece. Spitting Image.
Fire.
Yes, and we get this cool little cover story of, well, not color story, but just a color page of, or cover page rather, of Vivi in a garden with some birds playing.
Love it.
And Karu is jealous.
Yeah.
I thought this was really fitting, especially since Jump just released a Vivi's one-shot too, and I think the dress is the same.
Oh, wow. I didn't peep that yet, but I did see that on the app, and that would be really cool. I would be doing that shit. He'd be tying shit together like that.
Consistency.
Yeah, I love Vivi too.
Even if it's not like super obvious that they're connected, if you leave enough breadcrumbs, a reader will connect the dots. Like, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just a continuation to that payoff conversation we were talking about. Like, if you put enough clues, cool. Like,
for sure.
Payoff.
Nisekoi mangaka Naoshi Komi.
Yep.
Oh.
You didn't peep that on the app or what?
This is some different art. No, I saw this, but I thought
tasty treat for you after this.
This is some different art.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it looks cool. I thumbed
See,
through
I
a
be seeing different renditions of One Piece and like low key, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, this shit kind of fire though.
Yeah. Really?
Oda's a great artist, but like, man, I saw that Shokugeki no Sanji one shot, that motherfucking the Ace novel by Boichi.
Yeah. I'm like the opposite. Whenever I see
that
shit, I
this
just
other
feel
famous
weird.
mangaka.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I be like Luffy, man. Here on page 9 of this Vivi one shot, he looking kind of clean though.
Yeah, no doubt it's good. You know what I mean? Like all the other artist renditions are definitely good. But it's like One Piece has such a unique style. You know what I mean? That it's like, you know, it feels it's just like more. It just feels so weird seeing it look like a normal manga. You know what I mean? Or something close to it, something a little bit more traditional.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. But yeah, this chapter though, okay. The guys turning up together. Love to see it.
This is definitely climaxing. like
Yeah.
really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something to me that is like so good. Where I love the dynamic between Zoro and Sanji. Obviously.
Yeah.
And so seeing them fight together actually for a change, like, or in the same proximity, where they're kind of doing shit like, saving one another from the enemy's attacks. Like, oh, you're lacking, dude. What's up? Oh, now you owe me one. He's like, we're even. What's up?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's so good, dude.
Whenever that dynamic is there, it's always fire. You got like your Gimli and your Legolas, you know what I mean? Like your Zoro and your Sanji. You got like you could find this dynamic in like a lot of things, but the story of One Piece is just so massive that I feel like at this point here, it's like seeing Zoro and Sanji turn up in Wano side by side. It's like, when was the last time we even got something like this to this extent? Groggy Ring? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's really wild to me because we were talking about like Mash just hit its 74th chapter.
Yeah, something like that.
And we're here at 1023.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's just like, what can you tell with that much? Like, it's a saga. It's a straight up saga.
Whenever I see these characters do anything, I'm just like, I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. You're just constantly flooded with the memories of the history of the characters. You know what I mean? It makes them feel so real. You know what I mean? You've grown so far with them.
It really does.
And like, now at this point of the story, to see them turning up against these Yonko commanders, it really just makes you feel good, man.
Like,
You're
man,
like,
we're out
I can't
here,
wait
bruh.
to see them. Yes, we are really out here, out here, boy.
Yeah.
For real. And I can't wait to see the panel of them just like standing over the defeated, you know what I'm saying, Queen and King. And just like everybody's like, yo, what the fuck? Establishing that we are truly fucking here. You know what I'm saying? The Straw Hat Pirates are one of the most fearsome pirate crews in the fucking world.
Yeah, everyone's gonna see this. Everyone's gonna see and know about, like, the people that are there right now see, and that's always like the tightest shit in One Piece happens when you have like a huge fucking audience. You know what I mean? So like, even though this is like a separated part of the world, you know what I mean? Like, the information's obviously going to get out. You know what I mean?
And I need my mans to have bounties over 1 billion. Both of them.
Come on now.
Both of them.
Come on now. Dude, the
maybe
choreography.
they might not. They might not. Maybe I should reel that in. But like, I'd like to see the whole monster trio with bounties over 1 billion.
I was just about to say, like, this fight is...
Luffy's already got bounties over 1 billion.
This fight already, this choreography is through the roof. And, like, this is already, like, billion bounty shit we're looking at right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is incredible. Bro, when fucking... Okay, first of all, this Sanji panel of, like, the pinwheel Diablo Jamba is drastic. And then into the Zoro and King clash on the next page, and then he disarms Zoro and then steals off his ass, and he blocks it with the fucking mouth sword. And it's like, I know I want to say this has to have happened. Like, we have to have seen this kind of thing before with, like, Zoro, like, because I know that we know that he slashes with them, he king tangs with them, you know what I mean? But like, have we ever just gotten like a straight up raw, like, you came at me with real force and I just stopped your shit with just my mouth sword? You know what I mean? I don't remember another time like that. If there is another time, feel free to remind us, or at least remind me in the comment section. But I just turned the page on this and I was like, okay, so much is going on here. He went for an attack, his fucking blade like receded, to show these grooves so that he could, like, hinge them and disarm them, and then he punched him in the face and it's blocked. I was just like, holy fucking shit. Like, what a sequence.
Yeah. And a little bit of just something I noticed just now that is pretty weird, just a little bit of artistic inconsistency.
Oh.
Which is rare to see in One Piece, I think.
Sure.
Where on page 8 here, in the punching panel, in the small middle panel above it, you see the swords both facing the same way. The main punching panel on the bottom, they're facing opposite directions.
Oh, I think that might just be, he caught him up in one panel, lifted them out of Zoro's hands in the next panel, and then flung them, in the next panel.
Oh, you think he flung them?
No.
Yeah, no, because you see these little
the teeth. It's a sword catcher. It's a sword. It's a catcher sword.
For sure. But I think Eagle is saying like, why do they, why are they both the same way in one panel and then the next panel they're opposite directions? I think it's because in the very middle panel, it's just they've been taken out of Zoro's hand, still connected to the sword.
I think you're right, because on the bottom panel you can actually see the two little not impact but kind of action drawing things like right by the swords along the blade, like like something.
It's actually, that's definitely what it is.
But Zoro, man.
This panel on the bottom of 10 where King is like trying to kick him and he's like ting over him, the perspective of like the foot coming, like almost looks like it's jumping off the page. It's fire.
I wonder, like, how is Sanji able to, like, Queen raises a valid point. How does Sanji's leg ignite? You guys are the One Piece heads, so, like, you'd know better than me.
I don't know, dude.
There's never really been an explicit, literally what we get from Sanji in this chapter about how he does it is
I'm just
literally... No, this is literally the explanation that Oda has given to the ability, like in an SBS. When somebody asked about it, they were like, "How does Sanji's leg light on fire?" He literally was like, "The heat of his passion burns hotter than flames."
Yeah,
literally, pretty much the exact quote we got from Sanji in this chapter is what is the explanation that Oda's given on it.
And Sanji always speaks like poetically like that. You know what I mean? Like he's always like incorporating like metaphysical things into like his dialogue like that, you know what I mean? Like he's always very, cigarette smoking cool guy, like helpless romantic, like, you got to say some profound shit, you know what I mean? Like
romantic.
I mean that was the explanation he gave. That SBS was a long time ago, and now like within the story, obviously we know that on a metaphysical, like biological, like DNA level, he's been manipulated to have this ability, most likely, right? Because his brothers, they have the lightning ability. Fucking Yonji's like a winch man, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Ichiji, he's the fire. So like he's not the fire. It's lightning. What is Ichiji?
I remember.
Explosion.
There you go.
Yeah. So like he's got these innate abilities, most likely because of the but actually it's been implicitly stated he was the one that it didn't work on.
Right, yeah.
Now that I remember that.
I used to say like I feel like a lot of people used to say this, but I was like, that's just friction, son. I was just like,
I don't think so.
You got to suspend disbelief a little bit, you know what I mean? And just like, they're already superhuman, so if they're superhuman everywhere else, they could be superhuman in regard to just spinning really fast and lighting your fucking foot on fire, or like scraping your foot, on the ground and like lighting it like a match or some shit. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of always like.
I mean, it could just be like, like most of the Germa shit didn't work, right? Like he's not a heartless, emotionless piece of shit.
But this worked.
But this slipped through. Yes, it could be as simple as that.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
I wonder.
That feels really good.
Where is the source of the raid suit? Because he talks about like ever since I put the raid suit on the second time, my body's felt off. Not bad, just weird.
Oh, sure.
The raid suit is like made specifically to amplify their abilities and shit.
Yeah. Do you feel like
it's bringing some Germa shit out of him?
Do you think it's also? Do you think it's like? Is it Germa? Is it like the raid suit Germa technology or Germa adjacent? Like
yeah.
It is? Then maybe the suit was acting as kind of like a patch, right? Like, I didn't do quite right with my son, so here's this technology that can like he wears it, and it like infuses his body, and then infuses him with the patches that would have been necessary to fix him later down the road. Like a fully complete, like an upgrade, right? Like a operator's patch a little bit. That's kind of the vibe I get.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
The suit is acting as a device, applying a biological upgrade to him, fixing the flaws in his biological coding.
Damn.
I mean, I do think like having the German technology on his body, obviously, even as he states, is like implying that it's messing with his body in some kind of way. I think maybe
he specifically says it's not
activating some like latent shit,
Yeah, it's like he couldn't activate certain things before, but now that the suit's like interfacing with him. Maybe it's like kick firing, kind of like the stunted spark plugs of his body. That like, okay, let's hit the engine, let's go. You know,
Oh shit.
that kind of thing. That's kind of
And I
what
think
the vibe I'm getting.
obviously it's gonna have to get redesigned, as we talked about, because he's not gonna have that German look as like, you know, Blackleg Sanji of the Straw Hats, you know, Yonko Commander type shit. But
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
either the Victorian type beat that I've talked about, or even just a clean ass suit, you know, like Noxie I think has brought up, where he can then wear his little goofy outfits, you know, Hawaiian shirt, shorts, and the sandals or whatever, and then he always has that put the fucking raid suit on, and
When you're
now
going
I'm
to war.
to the nines, boy. I'm in the
Yeah.
3-piece. I'm about to kick you in your fucking dome.
Yeah.
Because he do be like in the, you know, saying the clean suit look.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
would be more on par for his character, I feel.
Yeah.
So the first part of spitting image that's referenced in the series is like this here is like 10 and 11, and they always talk about like how the will of D is like a form of destiny, right? And they like the Yakuza guys are talking about like how he's the spit, like Zoro is the spitting image of Lord Ushimaru.
Shimotsuki Ushimaru, yeah.
Yeah, and that he's the descendants of Shimotsuki Ryuma, the god of the blade. And they talk about how Ryuma was also a one-eyed samurai.
That was
so it's
wild, son.
and I
Have
was
y'all
just like-
seen the crazy ass theories that people are coming up with?
I haven't seen anything.
People
on,
are
like,
saying
YouTube or
like,
anything.
oh, they were saying like, I've seen shit like, I don't know. My buddy Zach was telling me about this, that he's seen this, and he was telling me he is the one that asked me like, have you seen some of these crazy ass theories? I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
What are people saying?
Yeah.
And apparently there's one theory that he was also Zoro was sent by Toki at some point on her journey into the future. And then at some point found a fruit that sent him back in time, and he actually was Ryuma. Like Zoro will like at some point in the future, like Zoro will now at
Yeah,
some
because he
point.
was
That's
sent
what I'm
back
saying.
in time. But wait,
He was sent
back-
forward in time by Toki. And then now, like at some point, even past what we've seen, you know, in the future of the story still, he finds a fruit that sends him back in time, and he actually is Ryuma.
I don't know, man, because like there was a character.
That's so fucking far.
There was a girl who was a Marine, right? There was a girl Marine. She had short black hair and glasses. Tashigi, and she trained with Zoro when he was a kid. So like already that doesn't make sense.
No, you're talking about Kuina. That's not
Or
Tashigi.
Kuina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Same
don't
character.
know their names, but
Da-na-na.
but I don't know those characters very well. So like, but I remember her saying like, I trained with Zoro when I was a child. Like,
Yeah, no, that theory is rancid.
So-
Moving on.
yeah.
No, I mean, I think I'm pretty much like still subscribed to like Zoro was on the ship, because it's been stated in the story that there was a ship like 20 or 30, 40 years ago that escaped from Wano and went to the East Blue. And then obviously, you know,
Like he's a kid or something like that.
we
Like
had
he was a
had
child.
Shimotsuki Village with the dojo there that Zoro trained at, that had the Kozuki crest on the front of the building, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
He's a descendant.
for
of
me,
Wano
it's
people.
obvious that Zoro, you know, that Shimotsuki, you know, dojo master dude,
Koshiro.
they came over. Koshiro, they came over on the ship. Maybe Zoro's a Shimotsuki descendant that Koshiro, being a loyal, you know, vassal to, smuggled away in a turbulent time of Wano. Like obviously
I
this
like
Kaido
that.
shit was
I like
going
that.
down.
They're like, hey, you
Yeah,
know,
it's tight.
you're some of our best warriors. You're descendants of the god of the blade. And if Orochi is gonna rule the land, they will use you. And if
Wait,
you
why
refuse, they will cut down everybody you love to force you out of your scabbard to do what they want. Like, yeah, I'd fucking run. Like,
I'm trying to think of other characters in One Piece that have green hair. We don't see that a lot. Like
No.
ever.
it's surprisingly rare. Buggy,
I don't really watch the anime, so it's like,
but he's blue.
does anybody in Wano have green hair? Is that like common in Wano maybe? I don't know.
It's hard to say.
Watching the anime, I can't say I've paid too much attention to like what their hair color is, but I would say, you know, the Shimotsuki people are probably green haired. But Ryuma had black hair. so-
Ryuma had black hair, yeah. So it's like, who the mom? Where the moms?
Yeah.
That's why people probably put the Toki shit together. They're like, Toki's the mom. That's why he's got green hair. She sent him forward in time. He got sent back in time. He's Ryuma. Ah!
That shit
But
is
no.
so wrong.
It's too
bro.
complicated. It's too complicated for.
For one, I think the scar on the eye, obviously, for one, looks different. It's like angled differently. It's much
for
longer,
sure.
and he's got another scar on his face. Obviously, he could get that over time, but
Yeah.
I don't. I'm not gonna subscribe to the Zoro is Ryuma theory.
No, what the fuck is
I definitely,
that? That is so
I
terrible.
view it as he's definitely like an. Like,
I'm not gonna say that much. But
it's the
That's
descendant
awful.
thing because like Momo, because like if we skip to the part where they're like this lady is crying about how Momo looks just like
Odin.
So like the Wano families have a very strong familial resemblance that just powers through every generation. So like I could definitely see Zoro as being a descendant of the Shimotsuki Ryuga. But
Yeah.
like I don't see him as a time traveler.
Odin about to hit him with the Nigete Nanbo no Oden ni Zoro. Like
I want a color spread of Momo as a dragon just to see if Nox is right about that one theory that this has been foreshadowed since like chapter 30 or something.
Like 300 something.
Chapter
Yeah, there we
motherfucking
go.
310, bro. Go look at that. That's a cut. That's
310.
that's Momonosuke.
That's for sure.
Go.
We
Momo.
know now that is Momonosuke.
That's
Yeah.
our Peach Boy.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, this last motherfucking panel.
There's great lines in this chapter.
Dude.
Like beyond the art, just like the great lines like King, do you need a school or a style in order to fight? Just cold light.
Yeah.
But you, Lickspittle, this is the last moon you'll ever see. That's so cheesy. I like that cheesy like samurai kind of stuff. Like
I wonder.
I've been waiting on the reactivation of Sulong, Neko, and Inu, bro.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But this line of dialogue from King talking about like not caring about a school or a style, I feel like this is like really important. I saw someone talking about it on I can't remember who was talking about it on Twitter. They focused on this page and like about characters that use swords but aren't swordsmen. Like we've been having that argument, or they've been having that argument, you know, inside of One Piece discussion and debate communities for a while about like what it really means to be the strongest swordsman when you have characters like Shanks and Roger and Big Mom that all technically wield swords and blades and shit like that. But it's like, I think this is making like a very clear distinction that it's like you have blade users and then you have swordsmen. You know what I mean? So that's that was like a really cool comment that I saw somebody make, and it makes a lot of sense. It's like, if we haven't gotten conversations like this in One Piece before, then I feel like this is like kind of big for it, kind of big for the world.
yeah, it's the difference between like a sword swinger and a duelist, right? Like
Yeah.
I totally see that. I do like that line. It's like, who knows, by the end of do as you like. Who knows, by the end of this, I might be tearing your throat out with my teeth.
Yeah.
Anything to ensure I win this fight. And I just like that. Like, King doesn't have a witty retort at that point. He's just like,
Ellipses. Yeah.
let's just fight.
Yeah.
All smoke,
Hell
no
yeah.
more words.
King, well, because he sees the resolve in him, and he also he probably recognizes Enma.
Yeah, and he's like, hold on, this motherfucker's different.
Hold on, bro. What that sword though?
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
Like,
He might notice Enma.
I don't know that he knows that.
I think he was just shook by the dialogue, bro. He was just like, all right, this motherfucker is not playing.
So something I thought of that's funny. I know we talked about. I brought up previously on the show. I was like, man, Momo, like he's gonna get leveled up as far as physically goes, but he's still gonna have the mentality of an 8-year-old. Like Shinobu said explicitly, like I can't age your mind.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, he's not going to be able to do shit up there. Kaido, like, he's going to see Kaido unfold because he's got this trauma associated with him. But being that Kaido also has a huge trauma associated with Odin, if he looks exactly like Odin and shows up at the top, like, what's up? Like, that's this joint trauma going on, you know?
Like, I don't know how you did that shit, but I don't think.
But
I'm still calling it that Kaido has a moment of weakness where he notices grown-up Momo, and that's the moment where people strike. It's just like,
Yeah.
It's gonna take him off guard.
I don't know. As long as Momo isn't effective physically, I feel like I'll be okay with whatever his involvement is, like on the rooftop. Like he can pull up, he can try to, twist and wrap around Kaido or whatever. But as soon as Kaido's like ready to put hands on Momonosuke, he should be just like sent flying and not able to do too much. So, I mean, like Zoan defense will probably keep him keep him alive from like a Kaido strike. You know what I mean? But like, I do think it would legitimately be awkward if they were actually boxing up there. You know what I mean? Like the situation is cool. The double spread will be tight. But like, I feel like this is something that Oda can fumble on. I don't want to believe or say that I believe that he will. But
maybe
like,
we'll
I'm definitely gonna let it ride out. But like, this is like the most worried I've been about like week to week One Piece in a really long time. But we have a back door. We have a back door inside of like, as awkward as this feels, just like aging. A lot of people wanted him to grow up normally, receive proper training, come of age. Like he fucking should for his character. But I think that since Shinobu ages him forward, still got Jewelry Bonnie, could swoop in, age him back, de-age him back.
They
What I mean?
Spend a lot of time searching for Jewelry Bonnie.
I don't know legitimately I don't know why Bonnie shows up. I don't know I remember back when I was talking about it before, like when I had the idea of Bonnie aging him in the first place, I was like, I don't know how I don't know what circumstances are gonna put her there. I just know she has this ability. Momonosuke, Kaido, it'd be cool to see some dragons fight, like I said that or whatever, but like I didn't know how it was gonna make sense, you know what I mean? And now that we're kind of like here with this like other kind of ability that's similar to Bonnie's, you know what I mean? It's like we could have him in this form just for this raid, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And then he gets put back and grows properly, and I feel like a lot of people that are upset about this would like that, even though it seems like really unlikely still, even though it's a possibility. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's fucking crazy to think about though.
Mm-hmm. Man, I do like that line that it's like, with Odin dead, you're reduced to following a child. Don't mock youthful. We were no one before he raised a samurai. You see, everyone grows in life, and Wano itself watch over Lord Momonosuke's growth. We won't let the likes of you steal it. I'm like, that's cool, because what happened with like Orochi and all them, they really did steal his childhood.
Yeah.
In more ways than one. Yeah, they transported him through time so he could still be a child and survive, but like, by aging him, by having him make that stake, have that consequence. This war has literally taken his youth from him. I love that.
Yeah, well, that's a pretty crazy way of putting it. If they do keep him older, I still feel like he can still receive all of the training, you know what I mean, that he would have received when he was younger, and he can still come into, that exact same kind of development that we wanted for him, just with a 28-year-old body.
And I think that'd be hilarious that when he's like emotionally mature and like okay with like interacting with relationships, everyone's gonna be like, "You're a silver fox." Oh, brother.
Yeah, and it would be like really. I feel like it's kind of One Piece like comedy to have, a 30-year-old dude acting like a kid. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Those kind of scenes are super One Piece. You know what I mean?
Sanji now has a competition. Let's go.
Oh shit. That's so weird to think about. Oh my god. Okay, so
the dual panel of Momo and Sanji.
Yeah, I think
Nami Swan, Robin Swan.
I think people just don't want this aged Momo situation to mean that he doesn't get the arc that was kind of set up for him. You know what I mean? And although
I think he can get that arc regardless.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I was. I think that's kind of what I was just saying. You just do it in a 28-year-old body or whatever, and throw some comedy of a grown man acting like a child in there, and boom,
like he's obviously going to start training and shit as soon as
watch him hit him with a line. He's like, "Oh, it's okay. I'm still a child at heart," and I'm like, "Ah,
type
sad."
shit. Yeah. Like it's just I think people just don't want him to be capable off rip just because he's 28 years old now.
I don't think he's gonna come out here busting motherfucking.
I know 28-year-olds who can't throw a punch.
Something waterfall, whatever Odin's move was. He don't even got swords. Yeah. But I did want to talk about like if he's looking exactly like Odin, Do you think he's gonna keep the Odin two-sword style? You know what I'm saying? And if so, like, what about Enma? I don't know. Do y'all want Zoro to keep Enma at this point?
I thought Enma was his sister's.
Yeah, but what's she about to do with it? Obviously, I feel like
isn't that right? Ame no Habakiri is Momo's, and
Ame no Habakiri is Momo's and Enma's Hiyori's. But I mean, I feel like in the case that he is like, yo, just let me get both of them to fight with, she wouldn't hold him on that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like she'd just be like, here. So I don't know. I still would like to see Zoro take Shusui still.
I just want them to forge him his own sword.
Yeah, that would be nice.
If they're making these fucking Ryuma and Ushimaru parallels and shit, like they're saying it on the page in the chapter. You know what I mean? So they should. Like if this dude has that thought is going to be communicated eventually. And
they should make him the Zoro sword.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like maybe a different name, but yeah.
Zoro still does.
I'm just kidding. Your face. The Zoro sword.
Shut the fuck up. The Zoro sword. Yo.
Oh, okay,
obviously it would be called something way tighter, but no, they got to make him his own sword, because that's still something he doesn't have, as a sword of his own that was made specifically for him.
Yeah. Do we have any swords? I don't know if man, this is something that we're probably gonna have to Google, but I'm wondering, like, I remember that like Shusui translates to something related to like autumn or autumn rain or like autumn river or something like that.
Yeah, Sui is like a water.
Yeah. So like, I don't know
think
if anybody.
Wado Ichimonji is like something to do with snow and the moon, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. I
think Kiko talked about this way back.
I do remember that. I literally just thought of him when you said that. Yeah. But the reason why I was saying that is like maybe his name could be something to do with snow and ice, but honestly, just because of like Shimotsuki, I think is like ice or snow related inside of its translation. But yeah, I don't know. We like Zoro's just like not related to ice or snow like at all. I want to say like inside of his fighting style, inside of his personality, inside of his like development that we've gotten for him. Like grew up on like a tropical like looking like area. You know what I mean? So like.
Oh man, you know it's kind of interesting that like they say that he might be descended to like the god of Blade, because I remember him doing like god themed attacks, like Ashura style.
Yeah.
Stuff. So I was like, yeah, I can see that.
Could have the word God in his sword somewhere. That'd be some shit. I definitely do strongly believe that like everyone, you know, in Wano kind of sees what happens here. And they're like, hold on, this Zoro motherfucker like is Ryuma. Like, wait a minute. And he's about to save the day? Yeah, give this motherfucker a sword.
Dude, that would be so cool.
What he's already had interactions with Kitetsu or whatever his name is that forged the Kitetsu swords. Like he was in this arc. Hitetsu. He was in this arc in the beginning, fucking with Zoro and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, so
if they forge a sword, would they use Momo's dragon fire to help temper it?
Oh damn. That'd be a cool panel, bro.
I'd
like to see them use a scale.
Yeah, put his scales in that bitch.
Fucking
put his
Kaido's
scale in the
Kaido scales in that bitch.
Bruh.
The scabbard
Zoro
is a fang.
get the dragon scale sword on him, bro. That'd be dope, bro.
Yeah, that'd be some shit, bro.
Dragon
fang.
bone sword on some Elder Scroll shit, like. That'd be fire.
Yeah,
I would love that.
Sick. I feel like there's more lore stuff in here that like. We got to talk about. No, we talked about Shimotsuki and Ryuma. Talked about, oh man, Jackson here getting fucking shoulder thrown out of windows. I forgot about that. Wait a minute. Oh shit. Yeah, they're outside now. Yeah, I completely forgot about these panels where they go back to Sulong. I'm screaming.
Oh, it's so good. I love the line. For 20 years, I asked myself, are you still a samurai of Lord Odin?
Fire.
Chills.
How have you turned soon? Yeah, hole in the
Zach is shook.
A hole in the roof.
I said Jack is shook.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, ooh, he looks so scared.
I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that.
Yo, Sulong is different. I still wish they would have regenerated the limbs, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
It's cool
Hold
though.
on.
It's cool though without it.
Jack the Drought, Queen the Plague,
King
the
of
Wildfire. Okay. I'm trying to. I for some reason I was thinking like 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
But like Wildfire, what's that? Like war?
Well, actually, Kaido could
someone-
be Conquest.
Oh, sure.
If we were to do 4 plagues, like the 4 horsemen,
Yeah.
Wildfire would literally just be death.
Be death, yeah.
And Conquest would be
Yeah.
War.
Kaido. Because that's what he does.
War.
He takes over.
And then you got famine and
famine would be drought, and then plague would be plague.
Yeah. Pestilence.
Pestilence, yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I wonder if anyone. I'm sure people have said that before, but I just like got the thought right now, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. I like the move that Queen has called Bridal Grabber. Because it's such an old, like, it harks back to just like an old school scumbag bandit lord samurai move, where it's like, I'm a samurai lord and I'm gonna sleep with your wife to be.
Oh shit.
Because I'm a douche.
Because I'm a douche.
Because I'm a douche and I'm addicted to power.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so I like that they're kind of harkening to that old school, not to like condone anything, but I just thought it was an interesting choice of title, considering Queen's like facial, like his facial hair, right? Like the super Fu Manchu, massive Q. There are cultural parallels here that are like, oh, it's the Chinese, and Japan and China don't always. They're not buddies.
Shit.
We're not Chinese.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, kind of thing. So
Bridal Grabber. I didn't know what to think about that when I saw it. I was like, what the fuck kind of name
I was just like, it's odd name, but I was like, this makes sense. I guess like it made sense to me.
Makes sense. It makes a little bit more sense now with that. Yeah, if that's really a thing that he was going for. I love shit like that. I love little shit like that ought to be peppering in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
But
that's pretty much all I've got at the moment.
So hyped to see this 2v2, man. This 2v2.
For sure.
I hope it stays as a 2v2. Cause
do you?
I do. Yeah. What do you want it to diverge into a 1v1 situation wholesale?
I guess I don't know what I want. I guess that's what I was expecting. I guess that's kind of like, you get like the initial back-to-back buddy cop clash or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually it kind of set, because it's like, this is the fight that people have been waiting for these characters. And as cool as it is that they're doing it together, I feel like, and not to say that what people want actually, matters when it comes to One Piece, but I feel like a lot of people are really expecting to see like full power individual fights, for these characters at this point. So that's kind of like why I was expecting it. But I'd be cool either way. Fuck yeah, dude. Give me some tandem shit. Give me some solo shit. I don't give a fuck. Oda, just write it. You know what I mean?
I think teamwork shit from them, because we so rarely get it, always fucking slaps so hard.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
like teamwork stuff.
Yeah,
especially
from Sanji and Zoro,
stubborn assholes like them.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
it's like I just always harken back to that moment in the Groggy Ring where it's like we never see them work together. They're always arguing. It's always 1v1s, and literally at the drop of a hat, Sanji's like, Zoro's like, yo, Cook.
Mm-hmm.
Help me out for 10 seconds. And they just like flawlessly execute this fucking beast ass combo, like without a word said, no planning, nothing. Yeah. He just like, oh, you're spinning around? Let me hop up on your leg. Yeet! Grab, buddy. What,
I want them to do a thing where they're dodging the 2 attacks from like King and Queen on these ends, and they basically like roll back, like Sanji does like a back roll, gets on his back, and then Zoro jumps backwards, and they basically land foot to foot, and Sanji kicks him back at
I see the vision. I see the vision.
I want him to like just like, and like Zoro's just like flip the egg and just went
I see.
Flap that jack. I want to see that.
And Oda's very much so in his choreography bag for this arc. So like we'll see like some pretty drastic shit no matter what. But that scene in particular would be cold-blooded. I think that shit would be so sick.
it's like, you know, we love talking about the things that we want, and like I do like the point that you made, like doesn't matter what manga, any series from Black Clover, My Hero, One Piece, whatever, it doesn't matter what we want. The manga's gonna do what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
And like there's always gonna be people that like that stuff, and I'm just lucky that I like most of this stuff.
Yeah, same.
Dude, like,
yes,
that's where I'm at.
For sure. Well said, man.
All right, well, yeah, I think that's about all I had for One Piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same.
Me too. Great combo, guys.
All righty, well, that's gonna do it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did, be sure to slap a like on this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to get more fire-ass content week to motherfucking week. Be sure to slap a comment in that comment section down below. Let us know what you thought about this week in Jump. If we missed anything, we can talk about it down there, stuff like that. Also, like we said before, you can go ahead and take a look in that description box down below, where you can find links to any and all of our individual social media accounts, such as Twitter, online communities like Discord, places to listen to the podcast wherever you'd prefer, as well as links to support the podcast, such as our Patreon and our online shop, which, as we said before, we have just now reopened to the public and come out with some hot ass new designs. Yes. So check that out, please and thank you. And with all that said, this will be another stupendous episode of the Project Manga Podcast. Wrapping up, I'm your host, Eagle.
Knox.
Melo Yanis.
Sarabada.